All right, what is up, everybody? We are live back for the Sunday night edition of the REMINGTOM pod, and we kind of got the first bad sports day. I guess, we obviously got to be respectful of the sports that are on, but the first, slowed down sports day of the summer. Obviously, the World Cup, carrying us from the NBA season there. Definitely, yeah, keeping us hyped. But they only had one World Cup game on, so, again, a little bit of a slower day. But we are off to a hot start for the 2026 BET Awards. I guess, again, we have other things to focus on outside the sports world, the beauty of the summer, I guess. And we did, of course, tune in to, see the Druski hosting, see what he's going to do there. But they started off with an incredible TI performance. Right away, we get Let 'Em Know right off the bat. And then, again, Druski bringing the Mega Pastor skit to the opening monologue for the BET Awards. So, makes sense. Kind of one of the more iconic just character, slash moments of the year in general. And I don't know if there is, I guess we can look up the awards. I don't know if there needs to be some kind of award for that because obviously the beauty of the BET Awards amongst a lot of things is it does cover a scope of entertainment categories. It's not just movie specific or music specific or all that different stuff, but maybe they do sneak in like an internet award in there something. Maybe we need to again double check the categories, but again, obviously, and it does go to the fact that Druski is hosting as well too. But hey, yo, chat, we got Kalani performing now. They were just going through. They were rattling off the performances, beforehand, just going through the lineup, and it was like another star, another star, another star, another star. It was like basically the show just could be all performances tonight. It doesn't seem like there's gonna be a miss there. I think they announced Janet Jackson and Kelly Rowland, but they might just be announcing awards. I don't know if they're actually performing songs. But hey, yo, Chad, if we get them performing songs at the end as well too, I mean, come on, what are we doing here? But then what else did we just get? Oh, and then they just gave away the award for best male R&B pop artist. So again, I feel like starting off with just like announcing the all NBA lineups right away. They were announcing again the nominees for that as well too, and I was just like, I don't even know where you go for this award to start. This is definitely one of the more stacked categories here. Hey, yo, let's see if we can get the nominees to load up here and see what's going on. So many people are tuning in, chat. Hey, yeah, the site is probably record-breaking traffic. But what are we saying here? Oh, can we get votes in real quick? But hey, yo, I guess okay. Best group. We're kind of scrolling between categories here. Yeah, the one they just gave out. Best male R&B artist, Chris Brown. Hey, yo, this scroll is touchy. Brent Faiyaz, Bruno Mars, Bryson Tiller, Chris Brown, Duran Bernard, Giveon, Leon Thomas, October, London, and Usher. I mean, chat, boom, 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 boom. I mean, hey, yo, all stars. Oh, did we leave out Bruno Mars as well too? Brent Faiyaz, Bruno Mars, Bryson Tiller, Chris Brown, Duran Bernard, Giveon, Leon Thomas, October, London, and Usher. They did that run. I mean, again, obviously Bruno Mars, ayo, star for sure. No, hot take. Bryson Tiller definitely has had a good year for sure. I don't think he was going to win the category though, but obviously, a star as well too, hot take. But then they go the Chris Brown, Duran Bernard, Giveon, Leon Thomas run, those four in a row. And again, they just drop in October London. I was like, shout out to October London, he's great. But after those four guys, it's like, that's probably going to be one of the winners there. And they announced Usher as well too. Obviously, you got the Chris Brown Usher tour that they, announced there. And I thought maybe Bernard as well would have a chance. Giveon, dropped a great project pretty recently. Though I don't remember, maybe that was at the end of 2024 as well, too. But then they ended up going with Leon Thomas, which makes sense. I guess, we'll see. Again, is Mutt up for this year if they're doing song type stuff? Or is it all, just artisty type things here as well too? Let's see if we can get some song awards as well. I guess, chat, we're just ripping through the categories. We could just go back and look and see and then find it later as well. See what the other nominees are here. Best group, 41 Clips, De La Soul, Flow, French Montana, and Max B. Shout out. Metro Boomin, DJ Spins, Nas and DJ Premier, Terrence Martin and Kenyon Dixon, and Wizkid and Asake, maybe, if I'm saying the name right there for the last one. Shout out. I mean, we're gonna gravitate toward the clips here if we're just kind of go, instant reaction answer. Obviously, Let God Sort 'Em Out. I did see that album cover here as we were scrolling down. So we can see what that's nominated up against as well, too. I mean, Metro Boomin and DJ Spins definitely had a really fun album as well. And then Nas and DJ Premier's album was definitely a great, return. I definitely, getting nominated, getting recognized is important. But, the clips was up for nearly album of the year contention just in general, amongst all albums released. So, and, in terms of an actual in the moment sort of instant classic, everybody recognizing it, it is kind of the, I don't want to say the one of the 2020s, the 2020, I guess, like Utopia stuff. There have been a couple other ones as well, too. I just need to, recall them as we're talking here. But yeah, again, within the last at least couple years anyways. And that one did have the rollout. GNX did have obviously the rollout of the rap beef. But in terms of Kendrick actually marketing the individual GNX project itself, it's not like there was the billboards and the interviews and just, it's not like he did the same thing that Clips did. I mean, obviously, the beauty of the music industry, they were both able to, do both things and both be successful in their own way. But just the whole moment that Clips built up there, it was like a real classic sort of 2000s or 2010s kind of album, 2010s because of the sort of modern internet usage as well. But the modern album drop was definitely kind of perfected there with what they were able to do. And then just to be able to go perfect for all the songs as well too is incredible. So for them to just be recognized as much for that project would definitely be great as well too. Best collaboration. So this would be songs, we have Chains and Whips here, clips with Kendrick. Time Remix, Cardi B, Jeezy, Lotto, Go Girls, Summer Walker, Lotto, Doja Cat, Good Flirts, Baby Keem, Kendrick Lamar, and Momo Boyd. Shout out to her for getting nominated as well, too. Obviously breaking through early on in her career there. I guess we'll see if there's like a new star award that, kind of like the Grammys has it. I'm trying to remember if they have that one as well, too. Is It a Crime? Maria Scientist and Kali Uchis. It Depends. Chris Brown, Bryson Tiller, Usher, Take Me There, Metro Boomin, Quavo, Breeski, YK Nice, DJ Spins, and then WGFT, Gunna, and Burner Boy. Hey yo, I'm kind of thinking again, Chris Brown and Bryson Tiller could be a sleeper here. If we were going with the amount of streams per song, let me see if we can go back and look that one up real quick. That is a pretty big hit there. So let me see. Chris Brown, it's got to be Honest Artist page. Oh, maybe it's not. He does have quite a few hits in his own right. I guess let's go to Bryson Tiller's artist page. Does he have less hits? Oh, it's not obviously Chris Brown's just got a loaded discography. Oh, it's because they've changed I'm looking for it with the single album cover art, and they changed it because he dropped it on the album now. So it's sitting at 113 right now, looking at it on Bryson Tiller's page. I don't know. Chains and Whips honestly might be kind of close to that. I don't know if, Spotify, it's not like points per game. Spotify streaming just determines everything. But just to look, okay, it is at 44, so it is a little bit more of a cut. 44 million to 113. Again, just to say that obviously, like we're saying, it is a hit. So it could have a chance there. Take Me Through There is definitely, a fun song as well too. But I think it could definitely be Chains and Whips again. Best male hip hop artist. I mean, we're not saying it reluctantly. It's just, at this point, it's like, is Kendrick's up for the Grammy? Give him the Grammy. I guess the question would be, some of these guys have done, I guess you can't say like a little bit more than Kendrick since 2024, but like the landscape has looked a little bit different than some of the Grammys and other things like that. I guess like with Drake dropping an album more recently, would you make the argument there? I guess he has dropped 2 projects since, Kendrick has dropped 1. So I guess he's dropped 4 projects, right? Because he dropped all 3 of them. Hey, yeah. So do 3, or I guess did they all go number 1? Or it debuted at 1, 2, 3, right? It's not like they could all debut at number 1. But, if he goes 1, 2, 3 on the Billboard charts, is that enough for, probably not. I mean, Tolliver is definitely a sleeper here as well, too. If we're just going, again, sort of 2026 star power. I mean, Kendrick has a little bit more legacy star power than Don Toliver does. You got to give him that for sure. So there is, like you say an older generation of fan that is also a fan of Kendrick that maybe isn't quite like fully listening to Don Toliver yet. But, again, if we're just going a certain segment of the fan bases, I'm not even saying like just college and younger or whatever. I'm saying, if it's like 35 and under, like Tolliver might be, not as popular, but could be like 92, 88, somewhere in the 88 to 92% range as popular as Kendrick. I don't know. But he's had such a massive year. And, again, the album that he's dropped is newer in terms of the calendar year itself. 2026, that project is definitely a standout of the calendar year. Again, if we're just going sort of the time frame that all these guys are nominated in, and it could be a little bit of a different story there. DaBaby, shout out for the nomination, I guess. He'll be excited about that. Baby Keem as well too. ASAP Rocky, great project. Big X the plug. Just being in a list with these legends is, and DaBaby. But DaBaby is definitely DaBaby is like a talented like a legend talent. Like who would be, you see those like posts on Instagram that's like, oh, which guy has to get up, which NBA legend has to get up from the table for this other NBA legend to sit down. It's like the newer guy, and it's like, oh, which all-time great spot is he taking? And I guess, maybe DaBaby's not taking an all-time great spot, but I guess the point would be maybe he's like kind of the talented guy in that mix that you're like, okay, I can see why he's there, but did he have the career of some of those other guys? But I mean, we're obviously, like we're saying, recognize the talent that he does have. It's definitely, something that we appreciate there musically. But and then T.I. as well too. Again, obviously the single that he just dropped the album, so I guess you can't really say that would be probably in consideration. But the singles that he's been dropping have been pretty crazy. But I could see this probably being between Toliver and Kendrick. And again, just because Toliver didn't have like Octane dropped before February, some of the award shows that he was going up against, or that Kendrick was competing, he wasn't competing against Octane. But again, just different moments of momentum, I guess, is the point. So yes, and I guess that same thing goes for J. Cole and Drake as well too. I guess J. Cole is a better all-time artist than Don Toliver, for making that argument there. I guess ASAP Rocky, again, that's the point of being the newer here. But maybe Don Toliver's kind of already past DaBaby all time. I don't know. I guess again, like we're saying, Don Toliver probably a more talented rapper than, or DaBaby probably more talented rapper than Don Toliver, but obviously as just, a musical artist, song maker, album maker as of late, Toliver has been pretty consistent there. Best female hip hop artist, Cardi B, Coi Leray, Doja Cat, Glorilla, Lotto, Megan Thee Stallion, Mona Leo, and then YK Nice as well. So, obviously, shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Do we have to say that, chat? I don't know, but Cardi B again did drop a pretty strong project as of late. Doechii is competing with the best rap album contender in Alligator Bites Never Heal. But again, that's kind of in the Kendrick lane where, not to say that it's spending time with it's obviously a good thing, but just in terms of where we're at with the award show momentum, again, maybe it's a little bit different. Cardi B's album a little bit newer. Same with Glorilla. Like, you could make the case that Glorilla's project was better than Cardi B's. It's close, and that's because they're both really good as well too. I guess I'd have to just spin it, pause back to back, chat. Hey, that's the only way to make a decision, I guess. It is what it is, and obviously, obviously everybody having great years as well too. But probably Cardi B or Doechii would be my guess. Again, it would be a little different Doechii to Cardi B compared for, like we're saying, Don Toliver to Kendrick, because the album schedules are flipped here, where Toliver's album is the newer album and Cardi B's album is the newer album. I'm trying to think what Doechii's was. August of 24, and then Cardi B was September of 25, right? Is it that new, or was it September of 24 maybe? Let me see what we got here. I Am the Drama. Let's look this back up here. I Am Mandalorian Drama. What are we looking up, chat? Hey, yo. I Am the Drama. Okay, this was, September 2025. So, again, I think, Dochi's project definitely stronger, but for, the newness there, like we're saying, Cardi B has the momentum. The video of the year, 100 LMA, Anxiety Dochi, Burning Blue, Mariah the Scientist, Chanel Tyla, Escape Room, short film, Tiana Taylor, Folded, Kalani, Let Him Know, T.I., and then Luther, Kendrick, and SZA as well. Hey, yo, Chad, we got to do a quick run of watching music videos. I gotta say, we haven't really. I guess we did watch the Luther one because he reposted it. But other than that, again, we were watching the Not Like Us music video as well. Though, obviously, like if we're just ranking songs here, like 100 LMA getting the shout out is obviously a great song. Chanel by Tyla as well, too. Folded by Kalani might be well, I guess outside of Luther, maybe the biggest hit here as well, too. And obviously, Let Him Know. I guess Anxiety is a huge hit as well too. But for video purposes, I guess we have seen the Anxiety music video, right? But didn't they update? She updated it where there's like the version where it's the home video old school version. But then I think there may be a new one where she's dancing around. I guess let's see what we might have to go to Dochi's page and watch this real quick just for research purposes, just to make sure. Yep, there is a new one here, chat. Okay, let's just, do we throw this on real quick and just keep it on in the background? Just, again, we gotta judge these videos to see what is the best one of the year. So we'll just report back on that and let you know in a second. So we'll just give her the win right now. Shout out to Dochi. But video director of the year, ASAP Rocky, Dan Street, Anderson .Paak. What creatively can Anderson .Paak not? What can he do? Benny Boom, Cactus Jack. Hey, yo, Chad. So people are wondering why Nolan is putting Travis Scott in the movies. I mean, because Travis Scott's a movie man. He's a director. He's an auteur, is what we don't really know yet. So, yep, Chad, I think this Anxiety music video is the winner. Just a quick note there. Cardi B and Patience Foster, Cole Bennett, Director X, Hype Williams. Oh, shout out. Let's just give Hype Williams the win. Heyo. And then Tiana Taylor as well, too. Tiana Taylor getting nominated for Best Director. Maybe Escape Room short film has a chance. I guess, short film as well, too. Does that have just the, obviously the extra work, put in there to tell the story and craft that video, I'm sure, is probably going to pay off for the win, hopefully there. But, hey, yo, you nominated Hype Williams, Chad. It's like, I guess, Hype Williams is going to win. I guess I don't know which of these videos he directed as well. They don't have a credit here for Hype Williams. He's just Hype Williams, so he just gets nominated. But again, Cactus Jack as well too. Like we're saying, the movie breaking into the movies, it does make sense. So he's gonna be, I guess, acting well in the Odyssey. I guess I haven't really seen the trailer. Does he have lines though? I don't know, or is he just there? I guess. I mean, I guess, if he does has lines, well, Travis Scott's going to ruin the movie because he has a couple lines like, hey, yo, what's going to be fun in, 10 years watching the Odyssey again, the 3.5-hour Odyssey, chat. What we're not going to be rewatching in 10 years. I can already tell you it's the Odyssey. Hey, yo, it is what it is. I hate to not call my shot. But that might not be a bold prediction though for me personally, because I don't know if I necessarily go back to like medieval movies too much. I'm trying to think. The main one that I think of right off the bat would be Gladiator, which would be like an all-time action movie. Again, obviously, your personal rotation, whatever your personal rotation is out there. It could be all of the all-time great action movies that we don't watch. Again, be a perfectly, do you say basic, but like all like the prestigious action movies, it can totally make sense. And it's like, yeah, I just, my rotation is I don't go back to those, but here is the list of 7 or 8, I guess, just if you want to narrow it down to whatever, but like, that you end up going back to in that way. I guess like, we have been really rerunning the Alien and the Predator movies as of late. Obviously, again, iconic and groundbreaking, both like, Die Hard and Gladiator, though maybe Gladiator's the less groundbreaking one there. I don't know. I guess, we're not film buffs like Travis Scott is, but for, again, just like big iconic action movies, you can probably, I guess, it's like, oh, how could you not watch Alien and Predator? I mean, there are just people, it is what it is. It's a hot take, Chad. It is what it is. But there's just going to be a couple people out there that, some movies, what movies do you go back to? You can only go back to so many movies all the time. But what are we saying? For Gladiator, it's just one that I just don't always get, like, let me just throw on Gladiator. It's like a random go-to type movie. You know, again, maybe I'm throwing on the same movie over and over again. It's like, oh, let me just run, Heat, The Dark Knight, and Skyfall. It's like, okay, real broad film palette taste there. It's just the same movie remade over and over again. But, again, for the medieval movies, I can't really think of a ton of and that's, a different type of action movie. I guess in some ways, well, I guess Dune's sci-fi. It's not medieval. Like a Star Wars is a medieval movie, Chad. Yeah, Tatooine's a desert planet. But look at us dropping some Star Wars knowledge there. Hey, yo. But, Dune does have the great arena fight. See, it does have the great gladiator-esque scene with Austin Butler versus the Atreides guy. So, again, there are definite moments where, the medieval stuff is really good. I guess Game of Thrones, is obviously, again, so maybe it needs to be elevated fantasy. I don't know. I haven't really, I guess, sat down and thought about it. And to be honest, did I watch through the entire Game of Thrones chat? Again, it is what it is. I mean, I guess I didn't drop it because it was bad. I just dropped it because, again, it's like, how much time do I have to sit here and watch a TV show? But I guess I could throw it back on and just keep it running in the background. And it's one of those things now, if you haven't seen it, you kind of know what happens in a way. Maybe you don't know in detail, but you're like, okay, I kind of get a sense of what's going on there. So it's just easier to maybe, rip through some of the episodes with not having to be like, oh, where's this going? What's happening? I need to pay attention to all the plots or whatever. But either way, all that being said, and the other main reason we wouldn't be watching the Odyssey again is if it's going to be 3.5 hours long. How many I was just having this conversation with the champ. Do we need to call him right now, chat? Hey, yo, and debate the Dark Knight versus the Batman? Hey, yo, because he's turning, chat. Hey, yo, we're losing him. We're an old school Dark Knight guy, and now he's thinking the Batman's better, chat. He's thinking the Batman's better. This might have to be just a whole summer debate that we have to do at some point. But I guess I'm so concerned about it right now. I forgot where I was even going with this. Oh, it's 3 hours. That's why, it's like, can it be better than Dark Knight if it's a whole hour? It's a whole nother movie? Hey, yo. It's like, oh, The Dark Knight Rises is too long. The Dark Knight Rises is 55 minutes shorter than the Batman. Hey, yo. So, you rewatch the Bane scenes multiple times before the Batman ends. So, again, like we're saying, we mentioned Heat. Heat's about as pushing it as you can go. So, I don't know. Do we have a runtime for the Odyssey yet, chat? Let's see what we got here for this project. How do you spell Odyssey? Let's see what we've got going on, chat. Oh, the Odyssey 2027. Oh, it's under 3. It's 2:52. Oh, Nolan, he learned from Oppenheimer. Because again, we're not gonna go ever rewatch Oppenheimer. 3, even if it's 3 exactly. It's that once you hit 3, it's like, hey, yeah, I can't think of a 3-hour movie that I go back and rewatch at all. That is 0. None of them. I mean, I guess is The Godfather 3 hours? I don't even go back and rewatch The Godfather. I'm just trying to think of one that I might. It's 2:55, so it is underneath. Pause. Godfather 3, Godfather 2 is 3:22. I mean, again, I guess, LeBron has The Godfather Part 2 on all day. So if you just have it on, you have it on. But 3:22, you're going to sit through that, chat? Hey, I guess, it is riveting. It's The Godfather Part 2. It's, what do they say, the best movie of all... It better be the best movie of all time if it's 3 hours and 22 minutes. Hey, yo, is that what the audience had to tell themselves after spending a whole day in the theater? They're like, well, this is just the best movie of all time. And then it just carried that way for 100 years. Hey, yo. I guess, but it's got Pacino and De Niro, and Robert Duvall. So, obviously, can't go wrong there. But anyways, back to Best New Artist. Belly Gang Cushington. Hey, yo, Destin Conrad. We'll see when Christopher Nolan puts Belly Gang Cushington into his next movie, I guess, whatever, because he has been doing historical dramas. So maybe he'll do I guess, hey, yo, Chad, we start giving out ideas, maybe we'll DM him, speaking of Nolan, what does the Joker say? If you have any ideas, don't give them out for free. But, maybe there's another type of other, eras that he could visit in history. Hot take, there's probably a couple of them. But, Chad, Olivia Dean's gonna win. Hey, yo, let's lock that in. Miles Minnick, Monaleo Ray, and then Trap Dicky as well, too. So, yeah, obviously, shout out to Olivia Dean. Lock it in. Album of the Year. Oh, Cardi B did get nominated for Album of the Year. So, yeah, go back to Best Female Artist. Lock that in for Cardi B there as well. Again, I would assume that Doechie's got nominated in a previous cycle. Anxiety as a single did drop a little bit later, so there is a different type of, Grammy or awards run that you can have there as well too. The Mutt. I mean, this is a great list as well too. Ooh, shout out to the Fall Off getting nominated. J. Cole. That's definitely a big moment there. I did see that it did just drop off the charts, and people were like, "Oh, the Fall Off, it's fallen off." But it's like, it doesn't have to be on the charts, obviously, for it to still be a classic. Is Mobb Deep still on the charts? Chat. Hey, I guess I don't know if J. Cole's ready to be an underground rapper now. But, either way, obviously it's still getting awards recognition. The Romantic by Bruno Mars, Mutt Deluxe, Let God Sort 'Em Out, Hearts Sold Separately, Everything Is a Lot, Don't Tap the Glass, getting nominated as well, too. And then I Am the Drama. I think Clips has a chance here. I think Clips has a chance. Obviously, Bruno Mars is on the ballot, so you gotta, consider Bruno Mars. And the Mutt Deluxe as well, too. I mean, again, imagine Leon Thomas gets an Album of the Year nom. This is Album of the Year. Hey, shout out to Wale too. That's a pretty big deal there. But it could be one of these three. Cardi B could be a sleeper again, and then it's probably going to be either Clips or Leon Thomas. Would be just an early guess there. If again, I guess it's just not default to Bruno Mars. Dr. Bobby Jones Best Gospel Inspirational Award. Abel by Kirk Franklin. Abel Remix. Darren Walls, PJ Morton, Kim Burrell. All to Thee, Already Good, At the Cross, CC, win. We're gonna butcher the name, but shout out. We'll just give her the win. Oh, Headphones by Lecrae, Killer Mike, and T.I. as well. Oh, chat, we have a battle here, I guess. Kurt Franklin, double noms. Hey, yo. And then it's just a dominant force in the category. And Tasha Cobbs, Leonard, and John Legend as well too. But yeah, either CC or T.I. chat would be great there. I mean, T.I. getting a gospel win. If T.I. gets a gospel win and Let Him Know wins for like best strip club dance song chat, I mean, what a night for T.I. Best actress, Angela Bassett, Ayo Edebiri, Chase Infinity, Coco Jones, Cynthia Erivo, Keke Palmer, Quintana Brunson. Oh, chat, Brunson's just taking titles all left and right. Hey, we'll just give it to Quintana because not obviously just because, but just to make the joke about the Brunson last name. Just because we're still hurt. Chat, obviously, do we have to? Is the jersey visible in the background? Do we have to reveal real quick? We're still hurt. We're still hurt by the finals, so it is what it is. It's just it was more PTSD. We saw the Brunson name, we're like, oh, hey, it is what it is. Regina Hall. I mean, Chad, if we were voting, I guess it would just be an easy vote there. And then Tiana Taylor for, I guess, what are we voting for, Chad? Again, I just saw Regina Hall and I was like, she's gonna win. But Tiana Taylor did get nominated for her role in one battle after another. Though Keke Palmer, she's been in the news lately, Chad. I don't know, again, if that matters for best actress, but I guess do we have to shout out Sean Evans, Chad? Hey, yo. I don't know if a shout out is the right thing to say or not. But I was thinking about like if there was a potential SNL sketch about like a date with Sean Evans, like what that would be like. And I don't know if you could get a whole sketch out of it. I don't know if they do like Instagram shorts just type sketches, but maybe it's like a 60-second pause type of we're not trying to comment on Sean Evans there by saying that, but I'm just saying that again maybe it's not. Maybe it's not like a 5-minute sketch of Sean Evans on a date, unless it's, like a comedic force that's impersonating Sean Evans. I don't know. But I feel like there is a little something there because he has that one clip that was viral for a while that was like him talking about, was it Khloe Kardashian's closet? And I don't even remember what he says, but he just like gets done with the phrase and Khloe Kardashian's just like, hey, yo. She's like, dude, can we just turn the cameras off and go home right now? Like, I've never heard anybody say that about my closet. So there is like a very eloquent way that Sean Evans spits game that I think that would be, that could be impersonated on SNL. That could be funny. Maybe it's not like maybe it's not a one date. Maybe, I guess speed dating, are we stealing other bits there? But maybe it's like a Sean Evans speed dating situation. I don't know, but hey, yo, chat, we're just trying to make fun of him. It is what it is, Shout out. I mean, again, obviously the man's got game. So, hey, yo, chat, I guess, well, now we're going to start getting crazy. But, either way, shout out to everybody involved. Tiana Taylor might win this one, though, if we're just looking at I guess, though, Chase Infinity as well, too, also, nominated for the same movie. But Best Actor, Aaron Pierre, Aldous Hodge, Anthony Mackie, Coleman Domingo, Damson Idris, Delroy Lindo. Ooh, chat. Denzel, Michael B, Sterling K. No Jafar. Oh, interesting, chat. No Jafar. And I guess no Nia Long for Best Actress as well, too. I guess, and I was going to say, there's no, like, supporting because you have Delroy in the main category here as well, which, again, it definitely could be Michael B because he was literally, the best actor at the Oscars. But, like we were saying, chat, it's really close in that movie. It's really close between Delroy and Michael B. I don't know what the NBA comparison is. Maybe like 2017 Warriors, where it's like Durant and Steph, like Michael B is the Durant where you're watching him and you're like, oh, this is like, the 100% version of Michael B that we thought that we could get someday. Like whatever the best version of. Oh, did Kalani just win for something, chat? Hey, yeah, we're not paying attention, I guess, to the award show. We do also have on, we mentioned we were rerunning the 2005 finals because again, we are hurt that the Spurs lost. We got to go back and rewatch all the finals that they won. So we've got game 2 or 3 on right now. I think it might be game 2. Actually, it might be game 3. But either way, I guess Spurs are up 11 right now. Let's see what we've got. Game 2 is what we are currently going with. So we may be getting a little distracted by that. The only thing that could distract us from some of these performances is, 2005 Spurs basketball. I guess it is what it is. But, and maybe, I guess a little Parker Ginobili-esque for Delroy Lindo and Michael B in some ways. People are going to be like, oh, Delroy and Michael B are better than Parker and Ginobili. And, obviously we'll want to defend Parker and Ginobili there, but they were, a tour de force in the movie. So it's going to be difficult to argue against that. So, again, I think the Steph versus Durant comparison is a little bit more fair. And I think we were cooking there a little bit by, again, like it was that sort of fully realized version, Paul, but that fully realized version of what they were, talent-wise in their field. Where it was like, again, Durant, and I guess we're not saying that Michael B has to still, Michael B doesn't still have the same questions of like, can he lead a movie on his own? Like, it's a little different for actors, I think. But, and, I think he has also kind of already consistently proven himself a box office star. So, again, some of those questions have already been answered. Like, his box officeness, I think, was kind of proved before, his quote unquote, like, critical acting ability. So, again, it can be a little backwards there compared to maybe like an NBA type of career. And, maybe Steph wasn't like 1 for 1 where Delroy's at in his career right now, where Steph's at back then. But, again, it's like Steph in those finals is, is just as good as Durant is. Though, again, maybe even it's just like Durant is so special in those finals. It's not like Delroy is worse than Curry. Or Curry is worse than Delroy in the finals, but just Durant is so good in the finals. Is Durant in this 2017 finals better than Michael B in Centers chat? Hey, what a debate. What a debate. That would be an interesting debate, though. I don't even know how that would go, but like actor performances to basketball performances, I don't know if that's that has to be the performances that we compare there, those two specifically. It could be like 2018 LeBron versus Michael B in Centers. Any actor performance is going to have a difficult time topping that Michael B in game 1. It might have to be like, Denzel in Training Day or something like that. Cause that is like the actor totally rewrote the script, totally rewrote the movie, totally like LeBron totally rewriting the script type of situation. I don't know. Maybe we'll, again, we'll see what happens with the summer lag here at some point. If we start doing actor movies versus NBA years, then we're definitely at a little bit of a low point. That means Jaylen Brown has not been traded yet. If we get in a little bit of a waiting game with the Jaylen Brown trade, we're gonna start talking about 98 Jackie Chan versus Chauncey Billups in 2002 or whatever. But either way, for Delroy versus Michael B, this is a battle. This is a real showdown, chat. I honestly don't know. I do not know who is better in that movie. They're both, and it's, again, they're both putting up 35 again. I guess Shaq and Kobe might be the better comparison, honestly. Whatever, like, Shaq and Kobe season, where it's like, I guess both these guys are just, as good as each other. But then maybe that is a little, because you're like, okay, I guess going forward, like, you would probably build the franchise, quote unquote, around Michael B. But it's like, if you built the franchise around if you had a Delroy Lindo, Sinners universe spinoff situation, obviously, spoiler alert for the movie, obviously it would end with that night. But there is still, a lot of story to be told there for his life. So, you could have a whole universe there. and it would be great. And again, like he would be an amazing star. Like it would be amazing to be like Delroy Lindo's got like, I guess, not to say that everybody needs a franchise, but just kind of that like main lead sort of type of role would be, would be fun. I feel like he's gonna have it, Chad. He's gonna have it for sure. Again, you can never, obviously, I guess maybe I'm not the one to be like, okay, what's the, certain part of the career, the guy getting that sort of lead role opportunity. And again, like Delroy's a legend as well too. But I think there could be, and I guess he's maybe not like a TV show type of guy, but I could see like a movie or something that he does where, and I guess Defy Bloods is a little like that already as well. But that one did kind of get a little lost on Netflix just in terms of, I think, the public talking about that movie. I think it's a beloved classic, obviously. But again, obviously the moment that he had for his career in Sinners, I think is probably the biggest moment of his career, though I'm not probably remembering, any early 90s pre stuff to that. Anything before Gone in 60 Seconds, I guess I don't really remember. It's like what's a bigger moment in his career than chasing down Nicolas Cage, the car thief? I guess besides that, but again, that's a tough one, Chad. I don't know who is going to win here. Again, shout out to the rest of the field as well too. I mean, you got Denzel, you got Sterling K, you got Coleman Domingo, who is just again giving an amazing performance in the again, obviously it's a tough character in some ways, but for the way that he is portraying those characters, there is, and obviously you're saying this with a respect to the story and then a reverence to the way that the character is able to portray the certain attributes, but it's just again the way that he's able to draw an emotional reaction out of the audience, where obviously you don't walk away from the movie like disliking Coleman Domingo in any way, but when he's on the screen acting, there is like again like a real like he can really again like hey he's really getting into character a lot of the times. It's just him being a great actor as well too. Damson Idris in F1. I mean, again, obviously we break down the whole field here as well too, but that is that's a tough one. The Young Stars Award. Okay, maybe I'm not gonna be too familiar there. I guess obviously just in terms of names, I guess you do have Northwest nominated. She has produced a couple of tracks in over the last year or two. I don't know exactly which ones those would be per se, but I know that in again, obviously the Vultures run, but I know in that Vultures run she was producing stuff, and I remember again, I don't remember off the top what the names of the certain tracks are, but for hearing them when they were out, and it's like scrolling through Instagram, it's like, oh, Northwest produces, it's like, okay, like she'll have a hot take, she'll have a career. Again, obviously you don't need the Remington pod to say that, but it's just like, okay, it's kind of undeniable that there's talent there, and that we're probably going to be hearing these songs at some point, and the albums are going to be, I guess for the field competing against them, the albums are going to be a problem in that sense. But the best movie, we got Highest to Lowest, him, number one on the call sheet, One Battle After Another, Relationship Goals with Kelly Rowland, Ruth and Boaz, Sinners, and Wicked for Good. So, chat, hey, do we even have to say it? Obviously, Highest to Lowest is, shout out. But no, Sinners is going to win. Again, Relationship Goals, shout out Method Man and Kelly Rowland. Hey, what a classic, chat. What a classic. This really is going to be, this is going to be like a fine wine right here. Again, obviously, with all due respect, like, and obviously it is respectful, but like Kelly Rowland herself. But this movie will definitely age great. This will be one where it's like we're saying 10-15, it's like, oh, where's that Method Man Kelly Rowland movie at? Let me throw that on. That's gonna be classic. So we love seeing that, and love seeing him getting some love as well too. Obviously, you can't trust the critics for everything. So, this is another one where you're like, oh man, you see the critical reviews, you're like, oh, do I watch this? Is this going to be worth it? And then just like, actually, this is a good movie. This is fun. Tyreek Withers is, definitely headed for a great career as well too. But again, just in terms of, Sinners is literally one of, arguably the greatest movie of all time. So, what are you going to do, chat? What are you going to do? It is what it is. You're just, I guess, One Battle After Another did win the what award show is that, chat? The Academy. But nah, get it out of here. Get it out of here. Hey, if One Battle After Another wins tonight, that's gonna be kind of interesting. I guess we'll see there. Sportswoman of the Year: Asia Wilson, Angel Reese, Clarissa Shields, Coco Gauff, Flau'jae Johnson, Gabby Thomas, Jordan Childs, Naomi Osaka, and Sha'Carri Richardson. So hey, Chad, again, obviously another stacked field here. just in terms of the nomination talent. Obviously Asia and Angel Reese carrying, and Flage as well too, carrying the basketball side of things. I mean, if this was like a breakout star situation, obviously Flage being yeah, she's in a rookie season right now, but she's going to be all WNBA guard going forward. Asia still probably the best basketball player here right now, though I don't know exactly what Osaka's been up to in tennis. I want to say, speaking of Coco Gauff, didn't Osaka get a win over Coco Gauff in a tournament this past year? So I do remember seeing that. I don't remember if Osaka went on to win that tournament or not. And then Shields as well too. Again, obviously it's just us not following really, either of the boxing worlds. Us kind of getting left a little bit behind there in the knowledge. So maybe this is down between Shields and Asia Wilson would be maybe our guess. But again, obviously as the basketball fans, would just give the vote there. And I guess as the Aces fans as well too. Sportsman of the Year, Aaron Judge, Anthony Edwards. Is Wemby on this list, Chet? Hey, yo, Shador. Oh, shout out to Shador. Hey, yo. I don't know when voting took place. It's going to be a little difficult to kind of not see that Brunson win this one, to be honest. Literally just, again, brought New York the first title in 50 years. The sort of moves that he made for setting up that franchise as well, too, are super important there. So those definitely can't be underrated. I guess, LeBron, we have to consider him. The fact that they've nominated Shador, does that mean we know something? But I think this has got to be Brunson, chat. We hate to say it. I guess if Brunson had lost the finals, that would be interesting. Like, Wemby's just the best basketball player in the world and unnominated at that point. But, easy solution. Brunson just wins in 5. So, he'll get the award there. BET Her Award. We've got Already Good, Sasha Cobbs, Tasha Cobbs, Leonard, Be Great, Jill Scott, Beautiful People, Jill Scott, Double Nom, First by Thames, Girl Get Up, Doechii SZA, Go Girl, Summer Walker, Gorgeous, Doja Cat, and Lady, Olivia Dean. So we got best song here for the collection. I mean, Jill Scott with the double nominee and the legend status as well too. I'm not, obviously we're not saying that you just give it to the legend every time, but it's definitely gonna, when they're still making music, and it's like they're still making music at a high level, they're just proving that the legendary talent, like we're saying, is still there. It's difficult to, again, just continue, if you could say respectfully, like from a competitive standpoint, like knock these people off their podiums if they're still, again, just making great music all the time. So you obviously have to be, very, very undeniable there. Again, just sort of the presence of Olivia Dean this year, especially just, if you could say, like, as an empowering presence as well too. It seems like there's been obviously just a real inspiration that she has been to the lady community out there. I guess, are we going to be the ones to sit here and break that down? But again, I just from obviously the outside looking in online, it does seem like, and again, obviously these are all legends, all respected, but especially just her being newer rising star as well too. You definitely see the hype building there, but then again, just sort of the leadership sort of, forming into place and already sort of there as well too. But Fashion Vanguard Award, A$AP Rocky, Bad Bunny, Beyonce, Doechii, Coleman Domingo, Cardi B, Rihanna, Tiana Taylor, and Zendaya. So Rihanna and A$AP Rocky competing for the award, Chad. Hey, yo. I guess, the household, obviously. If we go to can we get like a A$AP Rocky, Rihanna, Polymarket combo bet, potentially, to go here? Bad Bunny, obviously, doing the Super Bowl, just some sort of, honoring there. I guess we haven't really seen his name brought up in any of the awards. And again, like, I just feel like Coleman Domingo could just win this as well, too. It's just like, who's the most stylish person on this list? It's Coleman Domingo. Just give him the award. So, that could be easy there. And again, we haven't seen Zendaya nominated as well, too. So, she could definitely be a force here as well. But I mean, again, A$AP Rocky and Rihanna are kind of like the dominant people here. I mean, Beyonce just in terms of the cultural presence. But if we're just talking about fashion specifically, like, I think Rihanna definitely has sort of become the queen of hip hop fashion, if you could say that in a sense. And I guess, is A$AP Rocky like the king of hip hop fashion? But he kind of is. I think he kind of is. I don't know who would be just straight up more fashionable than ASAP Rocky, but then also like he is again sort of a businessman in the fashion sense as well too. So I could see either one of them winning it there. And again, shout out to Dochi as well too. The Pulse Award, 85 South, baby. This is Kiki Palmer, Charlemagne the God, Don Lemon, Druski. It is what it is. Shout out Joe and Jada on the radar, and R&B Money. Hey yo, Tank and Jay Valentine chat. Hey yo, what a show. What a show. Are we rooting for that? This is a tough one here, chat. Between 85 South, it is what it is. Drewski, R&B Money, and Don Lemon. I mean, we got powerhouse. Don Lemon is like, I guess, Drewski's like doing real comedic work, and but Don Lemon's doing like actual journalistic work. I guess I feel like he's had some stuff go down in the last year or so. Let's just see. He currently works as an independent journalist. Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't he get arrested or something like that in January? His film crew followed anti-ICE demonstrators into City's Church in St. Paul, Minneapolis, while covering the protest. He was arrested by federal agents in California and indicted with charges in conspiracy against the rights of religious freedom. Hey yo, Lemon was they're like Lemon's uncovering our conspiracies. We have to arrest him. They just charged him with it. Lemon was arrested on his own recognitions. Hey yo, on January 30th, vowing to fight charges and defend First Amendment press. So again, obviously. There's a lot of just great work being done in the culture and conversation and music and entertainment and all these different things. And, obviously a lot of these people crossing over into politics as well, too. But again, like Don Lemon's doing real journalistic work over here. So might be difficult to not give this one to Don Lemon after the year that he's had. But, it is what it is, pretty funny as well, too. So, it's difficult not to laugh. And, again, I guess we weren't even really giving proper praise to Druski for hosting the event, because it does seem like for him getting this hosting gig, and I'm trying to remember, maybe he's hosted before as well too, just again being one of the leaders in sort of the new comedic wave, but it does, he's obviously just really ascended out of that as well too. Like he's just no longer, in the sort of Twitch comedy, sketch, like Instagram sort of vibe, TikTok. And I was like, okay, he's just like a trendy, like that's what he was for a while. I guess you don't just say like a trendy guy. Again, like it was internet famous, and now he is like just legitimately, famous. But then also this year with the sketches that he's had, politically famous is just a different type of famous as well too. There is, I feel like when we say like that household name, like that does almost kind of imply politically famous. I feel like that is unintentionally like the most famous that you can get in some ways. Like I don't even really know what that, obviously, like does everybody know just individually like who the president is at a given time? I guess with like modern education, they're like, oh, nobody knows anything about anything now, so maybe not. But in theory, just in terms of like, again, just like name recognition, obviously, that type of stuff helps, I guess. But again, just when you start like Druski is, actively commenting on the political stuff in a more direct way, then he's definitely, it's not just again ascend the name value, but the critiques that he's been making have obviously been very poignant and very true, and there have been generating a lot of conversation. And in some ways, I think that if we're just talking about people to generate conversation again in 2026, like you could say Druski is has done that the most of anybody so far. And again, obviously, if we're just critiquing or if we're just judging the quality of certain, like, the quality of this movie, like we're saying for Sinners, or the quality of this album with the clips, like, maybe, again, are those projects better than the Megachurch sketch? Like, I don't know. Again, the Megachurch sketch for comedy is obviously like legitimately might be it might be like the first sketch since Chappelle's, like if we were ranking best sketches in the 2000s or in the 21st century, like it might be the first non-Chappelle show sketch that we get. I guess I'm thinking, I guess my mind just goes Chappelle show first. I guess there's probably going to be some SNL ones as well too. But again, it's in the conversation. It might be like a Mount Rushmore 21st century sketch as well too. And then, again, obviously the Erica Kirk one as well too could definitely be up there. The Megachurch one was first in the timeline, and then obviously the if we're just talking about, again, just sort of generating conversation, that was the sort of the biggest wave there that he was making with that video. But he has definitely been the the number one guy in this sense. So I think that, again, he definitely, if we're just talking like, if a Pulse Award, I guess, hey, yo, pause, like making waves in 2026 or something like that, then, obviously I think Druski maybe would be the winner here. If we're, rewarding journalistic work, then I guess, Don Lemon might win it there as well. And then if it was best show, chat, R&B money. Shout out to Tank. It is what it is. But is that all the awards there that we have got? But yeah, then the performers, like we were saying earlier, is such a stacked lineup here. Alexa J, Ari Lennox, Baby Keem, BJ Chicago Kid, Cardi B, Common, chat. Hey, yo, Common still going. Shout out. I guess, hey, yo, he's not that old. But Dochi, Doja Cat, Don Tolliver, Duran Bernard, Erica Campbell, French Montana, and Max B are getting out there, chat. Hey, yo, George Clinton, Kalani, Kenny Aiko. We'll see if Max or French Montana and Max B, if they perform during a commercial. Hey, yo, we'll see if they're live during that one. But K1, Leandra Johnson, Lizzo, MC Light, Nas, Queen Latifah, Rhapsody. I mean, you could just be like, this is just like the Hall of Fame. And you're like, okay, I get it. Rick Ross, Sela, Thames, Tierra Whack, T.I., the War and Treaty, YG Marley, and Zion Marley. So, again, we are really in for a, entertainment special tonight with this stacked group of performers. So, yeah, hey, we'll keep an eye on what is going on here right now. We got Kiki Palmer and Druski in a sketch. So, I guess that was, minus 200 to happen at some point. So shout out. I guess, do we stop talking over it and see what's happening? Oh, there we go, chat. She got him. I don't know what she said, but it was good because, again, we're talking. I mean, hey, we're actively pod-splaining right over the BET Awards. This is not good. But I did just have Nope on recently as well too, and this is making me feel like it's like the scenes from Nope when they're like cutting into the credits, and it's like, oh, you think I do like when they, and I guess we grew up in some ways on old sitcoms watching those shows, so I always like it when when those are in some other types of entertainment as well too. Like when WandaVision does the sitcom for that early episode, it's like that I like that episode. I guess, maybe I don't like always, I'm not like always going back and throwing on WandaVision, but those early first couple where they're parodying the different types of TV shows are pretty good. I think that's better than the second half of the show. It just becomes a boring old Disney show. Hey, but again, for Nope, it is they do have that in there, obviously, with the Gordy situation, but the opening credits, it's kind of like that joke where it's like, oh, you think you can't manage, getting a good birthday gift. And maybe that's what I like writers cooking up like old humor as well too, because it's like you're making a sitcom, but then you're making like a 50s sitcom, so it's like the joke still has to be like kind of funny, but then it's like, hey, obviously, a lot of real early jokes there, if you know what I mean. But, again, you get like the guy can't get can't get a birthday gift type of joke. It's just like, classic sitcom humor. It is what it is. But, shout out sitcoms in movies or TV shows. They usually work. They're usually pretty funny. Or, any type of 70s or earlier show. So if it's like a 70s talk show, like when they go, I'm thinking like right now when they, hey, we're pivoting to the Joker, but and not the Nolan one, of course, the Todd Phillips one, but they have the talk show in that. It's like, when does a talk show a talk show always works. You just have your star or whatever, just go to a talk show. It's great every time. And then you can like cast your host as like a, famous cameo maybe for a couple minutes. It's De Niro, right? Do they bring in De Niro in the Joker? I mean, hey, again, you're not going to get De Niro in the Joker for, the whole movie, but if he could be the talk show guy for a couple scenes, like, yeah, like, why not do that? And then it's him and Joaquin Phoenix there. You get like, I guess, do you say electric tension between him and De Niro? Hey, but, again, obviously in a sort of action thriller type of way. I mean, yes, you do. But either way, now we have motorcycles on stage, chat. Cardi B. Hey, again, I guess if they brought out Wu-Tang, then, obviously we're going to get flashbacks to the finals when we lost. Cardi B, like we said earlier, or in a couple live streams ago, we can still listen to Cardi B because we won the game that Cardi B was at the halftime performance for. So, it's a good thing we still are listening to Cardi B because we would probably want to be watching this performance as well. But yeah, we won that game. so we're good. But if for some reason there's a surprise Wu-Tang performance, we have to look away because we're scarred. We get up 30. Somehow in this Spurs Pistons rerun, it's just like, oh, history's being rewritten. What's happening? The Pistons are making the comeback. Oh, chat. Hey, yo, I hate to give out ideas, but I just cook up a horror movie. Maybe this is like a Black Mirror episode. Maybe it's like maybe it's actually just like a Rem and Sam parody of a Black Mirror episode. I don't know if we get a whole episode out of it. But is this the first Rem and Sam Productions? It's like I keep throwing on old classic games and then just like redo it, like messing up the result. So it's like, no, I want to go back and watch the 2005 finals, but every time I go back and watch, the Spurs lose. So it's like, now we go back in history, the Spurs have lost the finals. Oh, now I was like, well, let me watch. There's no way we lose to the '07 Cavs. It's like, wow, we lose to the '07 Cavs. It's like, oh no. It's like, well, we already lost in 13. That can't get any worse, but those are good games. And it's like, well, then you just reset the timeline for 14. They don't get the revenge because they're so devastated. It's like, what? I didn't mean that for that. I'm not even watching the ones they won. Hey, yo. So, I don't know what the turn is. I guess, is it's just 45 minutes of me just, being like, oh, well, we can't watch that game. Hey, yo. So then I guess, do I use my powers the other way? I guess, do I have to be like, okay, now I'm watching the game as a Heat fan, and then, now I can rewrite the Spurs to win back-to-back finals or something like that? Or I just have to be like, oh, now I'm just you know, like a Suns fan for the 90s or a Bulls fan. Like, oh, now the Suns win the 90s finals. Hey, yo, I guess we could go give Barkley a finals. That would be kind of fun. I guess, now Jordan's 5-1 in finals, chat. I mean, just think of the ripple effects of that, though. It's not just getting Barkley a finals. It's like we get back to 2026 and it's like, oh, now LeBron's easily the best player of all time. Tim Duncan's better than Jordan. That's obviously one of the side effects, right? If they're both 5-1 in finals, then now all of a sudden it's not even an argument at that point. Tim Duncan just easily sails past him. Jordan's now like the 5th best player of all time, and he never owned Charlotte. So Charlotte's actually like a powerhouse dynasty. They drafted Steph Curry back, and they were tanking around that time, but they drafted Steph, and now they're just like a powerhouse dynasty. I mean, again, it's like all these ripple effects you don't even realize. But I guess we would that Black Mirror, Rem and Sam, NBA Mirror chat, NBA Mirror. We'll see what's going on there. We'll workshop that and see what's happening. But hey, yo, Chad, summer's gonna be crazy. I tell you what, we're gonna be comparing actors, and we're gonna be, rewriting NBA history to make sure the Spurs win the finals every year. George Gervin's better than MJ. Hey, yo, I guess I don't know why all these guys have to be better than MJ, just because he's the top dog. It is what it is. Why do we say top dog? Because there's a Paw Patrol commercial on in the background. Hey, yo, it is what it is. But do we go from Paw Patrol, Chad, to Baby Boy? Let's do it. Let's do it. Pause. Hey, yo, because we do have an anniversary of one of the great classic movies of all time. A Singleton classic, a Tyrese classic, a movie classic. Again, it's worth the celebration, obviously, 25 years later. So Baby Boy, chat, lock in. It's not streaming anywhere right now, unfortunately. But with the changing of the month here soon, I imagine, come on, 2 months in a row, Baby Boy's not streaming? I doubt it. I doubt it. But I did try to go to the DVD store and find it. Maybe I should have it on DVD already. See, I got Poetic Justice as the one singleton, and I'm like, now, spreading out, pause, what do you say, like the DVD collection. So it's not trying to double up on too many actors, or I guess, directors or something like that. But as I say that, it's like, okay, you got a couple of Denzels, you got a couple of Brian De Palma. It's like, I'm still doubling up on the certain ones. It is what it is. But maybe we'll just need to get that next time we see it in the store, because some of the ones that we get to, it's like, okay, maybe maybe I didn't need to lock that one down as soon as possible. It seems like that one's there. I forget what I saw the other day, but I like looked up on top of the shelf, and they have like even a higher stack on top of the shelf, and I was like, oh, it's like maybe Casablanca. I was like, I don't have Casablanca, but I was like, I don't even need to worry about it because they've got like 55 copies of Casablanca here at this DVD store. Hey, yo, it's just, apparently it's not hot for 2026, but again, I 2 DVD store runs, none of them had Baby Boy, so unfortunate, it is what it is, but it is out there. It is out there. So, if you can find a way to queue it up, hey, yo, I'm sure you guys have the DVD as well, too. So, yeah, you could pop it in the old player and follow along. And when we return, like we said, the 25th anniversary edition of Baby Boy Chat up next, right after this. All right, chat, we are back. We got Baby Boy going up in the background here. And a quick note from the BET Awards. They had Druski doing a Could Have Been Records sketch, and they brought out this guy. And Druski was, again, we're just re-saying, obviously we're trading lightly, but he was commenting on the guy's BBL. Hey, yo. Again, it is what it is. We didn't determine what the bit was. That's just what it was. But the Druski basically said at one point, he's like, I've never seen a gangster rapper with a BBL before. And then the cameraman cut to Lotto. So great stuff from the BET Awards there as we get going here. But again, like we said, 25 years later, we get the Singleton Classic, chat. Hey, yo, speaking of the BET Awards, maybe just a lot of stuff we're not qualified to speak on tonight. It is what it is. But, it is a classic from one of our favorite directors, and a classic from a favorite actor of ours as well, too. Iconic actor from, obviously, the Fast and Furious franchise. We just did the first Fast and Furious, though he doesn't, of course, pop up until 2, which, of course, is Singleton as well. But this is Tyrese and Singleton before that. Tyrese as the main character as well, too. Obviously, again, in Too Fast, it is more of a Paul Walker vehicle, chat. It is what it is. But this is again, an interesting, obviously, movie for Tyrese, who goes on to become that franchise action guy. I forget what I was even watching. Oh, was it Transformers? He's in Transformers as well, too. Like, he gets in a couple of these, big budget movies. Obviously, do you say, like, taking the paycheck or whatever? But, again, he gets into the Fast and Furious, working with Singleton and, being a sort of more, underground-ish, not underground-ish, but, a more genre-esque type of movie earlier on. But this is obviously, again, hey, do you say character work from our guy Tyrese? But, he's obviously, giving us a real acting performance here. And that is, the fun thing with Singleton as well, too, is, obviously putting on for the culture in his movies, but, working with musicians in his movies as well, the way that he did. Again, we mentioned Poetic Justice earlier, that stars Tupac in the male role. And then you get Tyrese, obviously, great R&B artist in his own right, here in Baby Boy. So, and I don't know exactly if this is his film role, or first film role. I think it might be. So, greatest debut film roles of all time. Edward Norton in Primal Fear and Tyrese Gibson in Baby Boy. It might be those two. But, we got him, of course, in the lead here. If we go to his acting career, other films. Hey, yo, chat. Does he have a page? Do we get a page for our guy Tyrese here? I don't know. Why don't we just have an IMDb situation going on? Oh, filmography. Here it is. Oh, he did one TV movie before this, Love Song. So, obviously it does count as an acting credit. It stars Monica, chat. Hey, we might be throwing this one on after this. But Christian Kane, Richard Chew, and Essence Adkins. Released December 1st, 2000. Okay. So, yeah, it goes Baby Boy, Too Fast, Too Furious. Back to back in 2000 and 2001. So, again, early on, getting tasked with having to carry a film like this. And, obviously gives us a iconic performance here in his, early shot as the lead. I mean, he is fortunately surrounded by a cast. And again, Singleton has worked with so many great casts over the course of his career. But this is right up there with the best that he's ever had. Snoop Dogg in the in the number 2 bill, chat. Hey, you got Snoop and Tyrese leading the way. But Ving Rhames and Taraji P. Henson, Omar Gooden, and Adarin Joy Johnson, if I'm getting that right there. And then Monique as well, too, is in the cast. But, Ving Rhames and Taraji given all-time, iconic performances as well in this movie. And obviously them going on to have great careers in their own right. I mean, Rhames was, a star in the 90s, in, a star, you say like a star role player in the 90s. So, obviously, again, bringing some extra validation to the film as well. But, again, for Gibson, if he doesn't necessarily go into those sort of franchise types of things, like, it would have been interesting to see if he does, have a little bit more of a different type of action or different type of career. Because then, yeah, you see him even just going to other action movies. I guess Four Brothers is, another Singleton as well too. But like Waist Deep in '06 is already starting to trend that way. Death Race with Jason Statham. I mean, if you're in a Jason Statham movie, I mean, you know what that is at that point. Legion with Paul Bettany, maybe he's trying to, do a little bit more there as well. But again, this is definitely probably the most like film that he's been in, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if this is like a Criterion Collection type film. Like, I would assume like Boys in the Hood for Singleton's filmography, and maybe Rosewood as well could be, those types. But again, just as a classic, a recognized sort of classic, I feel like this is in that sort of weird intersection because again, I guess if you like go look up the reviews or something for this might not be like, the number one highest scored type of movie, but it does have, of course, and, with respect to the legend as well, too, rest in peace to Singleton, but, it does have I think a very, very positive retrospective in terms of how you find people talking about this movie. And maybe it is one of those movies as well. It's like if people, are watching this movie now, they're obviously, loving the movie. Maybe it's not in front of a movie going audience in the same way that, other movies are, where people could just naturally, form opinions about it. But, either way, in terms of, again, sort of him being in a sort of more artsy type of situation. Like, hey, yo, chat, the art house project of Baby Boy, that's obviously what we're going here for. But again, it's like an actual, coming of age portrayal of life type of situation versus, again, obviously, the fantasy elements that are involved in some of the other action movies that he is in. And again, having to star across Ving Rhames. We were talking about MBJ and Delroy Lindo earlier. I don't know if it gets to that level in this movie, but it is obviously that similar dynamic of having to go up against the, supporting guy who is also just really good at elevating the people around him as well too, where again, it's like could Ving Rhames just take over the movie at any point? It'd be like if another player was next to Scottie Pippen, and it's like, okay, I could be established as the star, but also at any moment, like Pippen could just take over the offense. Like, I guess, I don't know what the on-screen script version of that is. I guess it's when Ving Rhames steps into the camera and it's just his back. Hey, yo, chat, pause. But shout out, obviously, you know, do you say imposing? That's a compliment, right? I guess if you say it complimentary, it is. A very imposing guy. So obviously, Tyrese sizing him up right away, knowing what he is going up against. I did just watch one classic Ving Rhames film the other day called People Under the Stairs, a Wes Anderson sort of slasher horror. I guess maybe it's like technically a horror comedy situation, but obviously kind of that like B slasher type of film. And hot take, Ving Rhames is really good in it. We just did the Mission Impossible rewatch earlier as well, and Rhames is also again a stalwart in that franchise. And that's what I was kind of saying with Lindo in a sense. And obviously that's a different type of thing as well too, with Ving Rhames in Mission Impossible. Can we get sound here, IT? Hey, yo, Mike, why is it so quiet? See if we can get some dialogue queued up here. But yeah, what are we saying? Yeah, again, that would be obviously. Oh, what did? Dochi. Oh, Dochi and SZA won the BET Her Award. So I forget what our guess was for that. Was it Jill Scott? Maybe was that the double nomination Jill Scott category? So hey, yo, chat. Shout out to both. For being leaders. But for again, back to the movie. What are we saying? For Ribs, again, he does have that sort of household name sort of what do you say? He's in sort of that household name sort of category because he's a part of that type of franchise. So again, it's like even if you're not Captain America or Iron Man or Thor in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it still is something that can be very, very positive. Oh, chat. Hey, now we've lost this. Now we've lost the screen mirroring. Hey, yo. I guess the challenges of the life here in Baby Boy represented in the fact that we're having difficulty playing it it is what it is. But yeah, this is again, the individual sort of characters that he plays. He might be I guess it's between him and Taraji, but for the movie career, he might have the best movie career of anybody here in the cast. Native Son, Patty Hearst, number 2. Maybe we have to throw that one on in the watch list. I'm not sure. Casualties War, Jacob's Ladder in 1990, Dave in 93, Blood In, Blood Out, and Dave in 93, Pulp Fiction in 94, Kiss of Death 95, Mission Impossible and Striptease in 96, and then Dangerous Ground, Rosewood. That's right, he's in Con Air. Hey, yo, Con Air in 97, Body Count and Out of Sight in 98, Entrapment 99, Bringing Out the Dead, Mission Impossible 2, and then Bad Boy in 2001. I mean, hey, yo, Chad, who had a better run from 93 to 2001 than Ving Rhames? And he's in Lilo. Oh, that's right, Undisputed, Lilo and Stitch as well too. Dawn of the Dead, Mission Impossible 3, Idlewild as well. Hey, yo, a Tubi classic. Shout out Outcast, and then maybe some different roles in the 2010s. And he does need, another non-Mission Impossible role here in the sort of last, couple, I'm not saying the last couple of decades in a bad thing. Again, he's been a great working actor here and has gotten some iconic parts, but he could get into a movie as well too. But hey, yo, Chad, I mean, again, you go Blood In, Blood Out, Dave, Pulp Fiction, Kiss of Death, Mission Impossible, Striptease, Rosewood, Con Air, Out of Sight. Hey, yo, Mission Impossible, and then Baby Boy and Undisputed to 2002. I mean, that is almost like, and I guess Undisputed is him like, being in more of a lead role as well too. Is that, yeah, Snipes? I was gonna say that's him and Wesley Snipes, right? Hey, yo, is this on Tubi right now? We might be throwing on Undisputed, chat. It is what it is. They've had The Fan on Tubi, so a sports movie with Wesley Snipes in it. Wesley Snipes and De Niro. But it's on Pluto, chat. Okay, well, close enough. I bet we can journey over to Pluto and throw on Undisputed. Ving Rhames versus Wesley Snipes. Hey, yo, chat. So, again, he's obviously going toe to toe with that's probably his best acting across from a person in terms of like what their importance is in the movie to another good actor, if that makes sense. Because again, like Wesley Snipes, obviously, like an Academy level actor himself, I guess, and then like, what are we saying? Tom Cruise. And the other one's Demi Moore in Striptease as well. Who's the president in Dave, chat? Hey, yo. Sigourney Weaver is in Dave. That's right. I don't know if she's in the president role, but is it Frank Langella? That's the president here, written or starring Kevin Kline, I guess, and Sigourney Weaver. But then also, Ving Rhames as well too. Ooh, Ben Kingsley, chat, just sneaking in there. Drop Squad. Do we need to throw on Drop Squad? American drama film, executive produced by Spike Lee via his company 40 Acres and Mule Filmworks. The plot depicts a team of African Americans who kidnap fellow black people who they feel have betrayed their what, chat? Ayo, betrayed their what? Who they feel have betrayed their community to seek deprogram them so they will change their ways. The acronym DROP stands for Deprogramming Restoration of Pride. The film has been described as part thriller, part social satire. Wow, chat. Hey, yo. Like an early Jordan Peele type of movie. But I guess just underrated. I guess I wonder if he's ever talked about this. $2 million at the budget, $700,000 at the box office, chat. Hey, yo. If Drop Squad's not on Tubi, I'll be shocked. Let's see. We could probably just buy the CD and upload it ourselves, to be honest. Let's see what's going on here. Drop Squad, 1994. Is this the right one? Yes. Oh, chat, it's not. Okay, we'll have to find this one as well, too. So Drop Squad, add it to the watch list. Is this also? Yeah, this is Ving Rhames in this as well. Eric De La Salle, Vondae Curtis Hall, Cassie Lemons, Leonard L. Thompson, Nicole Powell, Eric Payne are the cast mentioned here. Crystal Fox, Vanessa Williams, not the R&B singer, but again, maybe an interesting premise to definitely check out and see what is going on there. But yeah, again, the rise of Ving Rhames, chat. Hey, yo, pause. Is definitely, impressive to track there through the 90s. And again, if we're just talking about guys who could be, I mean, obviously he's capable of more. We're not saying, reduce him to the side role in a movie, but guys that did have that career as a, supporting actor. And there is, and I guess, are we saying like a, I guess to use rewatchables term, like the heat check Dion Waiters type of actor? Because again, there is the supporting, I guess to bring Delroy Lindo in, and they could be the same type of guy in a movie. I guess to say that respectfully, again, they could play some similar parts for sure in terms of the amount of importance in a movie. But again, maybe Delroy can is more typically in more of the movie per se, and maybe Ving Rhames is coming in scenes, pause, heat check style, and tearing up screen time. But he is still like the best at that you can really think of again in the 90s. Like who is just who's better in a scene than Ving Rhames, Chad? Hey, again, we get him obviously, in the backyard hanging out, tank top, sort of chill style, and then immediately he's in a suit, nice hat, smoking the cigar. Like again, the versatility. Like obviously one of the great presences that you have for a movie actor. And obviously, the character in Pulp Fiction, iconic. Just anybody in that movie is iconic. So his role definitely is one that stands out as well too. But then Con Air, chat, it's like he's in basically every level of iconic movie that you could be on. Where it's like the prestige, is like the generation defining. Everybody in film class goes back and looks at Pulp Fiction. It's like, I guess, we were talking about The Godfather, or what's another? I guess Casablanca. Pulp Fiction's like the modern day Casablanca, like in some ways. Or who's Orson Welles is the guy? Did Orson Welles make? Citizen Kane. I guess maybe it's like the modern day Citizen Kane in a way. But is Pulp Fiction not really Tarantino's first movie? I guess maybe his first director movie. We might have to go back and double check there, that because he wrote True Romance, obviously, but and that would have been 93 release. But I don't remember if he directed a movie before Pulp Fiction. Hey, I guess we don't have the Tarantino filmography just memorized in order. It is what it is. But we do like we're saying, that is obviously, everybody from that movie is just gonna be iconic in that type of way. Like we were saying about, like Robert Duvall's character in The Godfather. Like Robert Duvall, becomes again one of the great supporting actors, one of the great actors that we've ever had, but becomes iconic from that movie. And I guess great movies like that where you get those casts early on, and then and then obviously they all perform really well. Hey, chat, going back to the awards, I was like, who is this? They're doing like a freshman cipher situation, and I was like, who is this rapper? I was like, he looks kind of like Druski, but I don't know what's going on there. But it's Druski, in makeup, we'll say. But I was like, wait a second. I was like, I was like, who is that guy? That because obviously we're two screening right now with Baby Boy. But I was like, okay. I was like, there's some familiar there. Some familiar is going on. But yeah, I was like, wait a second. Is that the real freshman sniper? I was like, is that Belly Gang Cushington? Hey, yo. I was like, Belly Gang Cushington looks a little more like Druski than I thought. But no, I think it was actually Druski. So I don't know if that counted as an actual performance. They didn't have Druski freshman cipher listed as one of the performances. But now it looks like they've got an actual one queued up here. So obviously cutting in between the sketch the sketches, we'll try to pay attention. But yeah, again, obviously for Rames, like we said, a star in this movie, and great film career. Taraji Henson as well too. Again, obviously, in that way that we're talking, like The Godfather, all these Tyrese goes on to the Fast Furious, Taraji in Empire, and Ving Rhames in Undisputed is kind of the same thing. But yeah, Baby Boy, early role, 2001, Streetwise in 98, Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle in 2000, and then Hustle and Flow in 05, Four Brothers in 05 as well too, Smoking Aces in 06, Benjamin Button in 08, Hurricane Season in 2009. Chat, hey, yo, Forrest Whitaker, Lil Wayne is in this. Hey, yo, you have to go back and throw that one on as well. Date Night, Once Fallen, Karate Kid, and Peep World in 2010. Think Like a Man in 2012. Iconic. It's over in the DVD stack right now. Hidden Figures in 2016. Proud Mary 2018. I feel like Acrimony as well too. Maybe we do. I remember this one. Yeah. Again, obviously, a star 2018 run there. Minions: The Rise of Gru. Chat. Hey, yo, I didn't know she voiced a character in the Minions movie as well. And then Color Purple, and then Straw in 2025. She hasn't done a movie since Straw. We did watch Straw on the live stream. You can go back and look at that. Written, produced, and directed by Tyler Perry. Taraji Henson, in a heist movie, but obviously a little bit more grittier, a little bit more, you know, her obviously from that perspective of just like that person, that's just like deciding like, okay, like this is just a spur of the moment thing. I'm gonna just rob this bank. Versus, again, like Heat is, or you know, even like Set It Off. They do training in that movie, even if it's more like not necessarily the number one, ex-military professionals all the way around. Yeah, they're still like, okay, we're gonna get some training in. We're gonna at least have a game plan. Again, obviously Taraji Henson. So the drama is a little bit different because it is that kind of events just kind of turning and compounding on each other. And it was a great movie as well too. So Ayo, nothing in the what do you say, the upcoming movies here. So I don't know if there's some TV stuff as well that's maybe keeping occupied a little bit. We got three singers of the Masked, 3 episodes of the Masked Singer, season 14 here as of recent. So Ayo, and then I guess a couple of episodes of Abbott Elementary as well is pretty good. And then like we said, obviously the iconic role in Empire as Cookie. Shout out, like we said, we've seen the opening episode so many times because it just auto plays on Tubi all the time. So what team? Oh, Miami. I've said Miami Vice recently kind of took over that spot. So we've just seen like the first 20 minutes of Miami Vice before I look up and I'm like, wait a minute. It's not that I don't want to watch the show, but it's just not the thing that I'm selecting to watch in the moment. And it's, I guess, sometimes, and like we said, it's like, okay, am I gonna now autoplay the entire show for Empire? I guess we could for sure, or Miami Vice. It's just, again, us committing to TV shows is, obviously, like we said, we just tend to go movies that way. But again, obviously, now Taraji P Henson getting let out of jail to start Empire is like one of our most watched movie scenes or most watched TV show scenes of all time, because it just is always autoplaying on Tubi. And there have been like quite a few times where it's like, okay, we'll set, we'll fall asleep, set the Tubi to fall asleep, and then it's just like waking up. It's like, oh, okay, we're on episode 4 of Empire. All of a sudden, it's like maybe we do just commit. I'm talking myself into it, Chad, as we go. I mean, it's only a matter of time. So many Tubi autoplays, and it's like, it is what it is. We're just committed at this point, and it needs to autoplay, from like episode 4, episode 5, from the middle of the seasons as well too, instead of just always starting up at episode 1 again. And then just like, naturally we could just like kind of work our way through the show that way there. But yeah, again, obviously, what a start to the career here in Baby Boy. I mean, in some ways obviously sets the tone for a lot of different different acting style that Taraji P Henson can have. Again, obviously, like going to Straw, different type of movie, but that same sort of on edge type of emotion that she can play is really great. And I mean, obviously she's one of the great actors that we have as well too. Really underrated, I think, in terms of just overall ability for sure. But again, this is definitely like an early, maximum version of the Taraji P Henson, on-screen acting abilities. But again, it's definitely, obviously, probably it's maybe her most iconic film role. I think, again, like Hidden Figures as a lead part definitely is starting to take over that spot in some ways. But I think Baby Boy, and again, as a classic, it is obviously, maybe the most quote unquote classic of these movies. Like, again, like Benjamin Button is like a prestige movie. Does anybody ever go back and rewatch Benjamin Button? Like, no. I guess, is that David Fincher? Hey, it is David Fincher. Is this you can't even call it a miss, because I guess it is like a good movie, but it's just, it's an odd story. It's like, okay, I guess, how often am I going to go back and rewind Benjamin Button? I don't know, but Again, I guess Baby Boy is the iconic live on role as well, like we're saying. So, that was taken care of early on there. And Singleton had talked about. I was watching something about how he was saying that he was originally wanting to make a movie about another kid, where he had done that before in Boys in the Hood, and you do see a lot of course, the different story elements from some of those movies being brought in. I mean, it is a little, poetic justice, Boys in the Hood kind of combo for, Singleton-esque story beats for what we have going on. Because again, obviously, you have the sort of same sort of like, quote unquote, like coming of age situation for Tyrese that you would, obviously get in Boys of the Hood, and then sort of the same sort of setting, professional, like relational dynamics of like poetic justice in a sense, because obviously again you have the younger audience in Boys of the Hood, or the younger cast in Boys of the Hood, and you have Ving Rhames just in the kitchen, just cooking up naked, chat. Again, hey, yo, what would be, top 5 most intimidating things to see when you just walk out into the kitchen, chat? Hey, yo. It's just like Ving Rhames in socks making breakfast. It is what it is. But, hey, yo, obviously, Tyrese, you're hanging out in the house. I guess it's gonna be something that happens every now and then. And, I guess Ving Rhames is also, not gonna care as as well. But I guess he decided to put on a jumpsuit for this conversation. So, at least there's some sort of mutual respect there between the two of them. Again, I could have just been like, hey, I'm carrying this tray. Let me just stop and just, pivot over here real quick and talk to you. But yeah, like we were saying, again, this is, do you say like a culmination of some of the stuff that Singleton was doing in a way? But again, he obviously just gets to tell that coming of age story from a different perspective in the person's life, and that obviously leans itself into the title as well too, with obviously it being Baby Boy, and obviously it being just that maturation process that the movie is trying to have Tyrese go through here for the the cycle. And is it kind of a 1 day situation as well too? I may have to go back and calendar this out, but it is getting up there for the day situation. I guess Singleton movies do kind of do that weirdly. I'm trying to think, like Four Brothers. How many days take place over Four Brothers? Hey, yo. I guess there are a couple of time jumps, but once they go back, maybe there's like a couple of dinner scenes, like them hanging out at the house one night or two. Hey, yeah, we haven't run Four Brothers in a couple months, so we might have to get that one back on in the mix as well. I guess Hustle and Flow is, well, I guess that's not necessarily a Singleton directed, but what are we saying for Boys in the Hood? Again, you do have some time jumps there, but and I guess it's like the backyard party's not like the same day that Ricky gets shot. It's, I guess there's days there in between what is going on, but I guess he does just have kind of like, there's like a hey, you can say, obviously after talking about Ricky, but there's like a bleeding sort of effect of the scenes where, again, it's just sort of the ongoing momentum of life, obviously, that Singleton is, so easily able to portray there with the filmmaking stuff. But this is, again, with the more, adult type cast that he is, working with. You don't say like a more serious movie than the other movies that he was making. But again, it is obviously hitting on some just different types of themes that you're gonna get from different phases. Again, obviously, again, Boys in the Hood is from high school and then going into college, and there is relationship stuff there, and you even have Lawrence Fishburne talking to Cuba Gooding Jr. about being a father and things like that, and you have there's even Ricky with a kid, and like, you do have similar, obviously, overlap types of things. But again, this is like kind of like picking up, I guess, where that left off from a sense, and that is the great thing about Singleton movies in a way. I guess going back to Tarantino as well too. Tarantino movies are all like kind of in this like weird extended universe, I guess, in some ways. I don't really know the connecting points for that. I just know I've heard people talk about it. And maybe it's not even all the movies. Maybe it's just like Kill Bill and Pulp Fiction are like in the same world or something like that. I don't know, because I guess not all of his movies would be. Well, I guess all of his movies could be in the same world. Like, could Django Unchained be in the same world as Pulp Fiction? Like, I guess it's not the same time, but like it's the same timeline. I don't know, but again, like the Singleton movies, there is like a Singleton universe esqueness that does that does happen to the movies, where again, obviously telling stories in a similar setting is definitely gonna have that happen. Obviously it's not just he was just like, even as much as just focused on LA as well too. Like he just made a lot of his movies in Los Angeles, but again, there is just a sort of greater world vibe that you do get to the Singleton movies, where it feels like any time that you're watching a movie, you're in, like we're saying, that pause, in that Singleton universe. And not a lot of directors do, like, again, like directors have vibes for sure. Like, yeah, like Nolan has a vibe. Like you definitely know when you're watching a Nolan movie, but you don't necessarily you don't feel like, again, like, Tyrese could be, a couple of blocks over from Doughboy at some point, or maybe they, were playing pickup basketball at some point in the same park. Like you never really think that, you know, I guess because maybe Nolan reuses a lot of the cast as well too in all of the movies. It's like Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in every movie, but it's like you don't think like Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in Inception, but then I just say, and also in Batman Begins, he is kind of in that. He literally is in both movies, but or John David Washington in Tenet. You don't really think like Tenet and Interstellar are like the same situation, or Interstellar or Inception or something like that. But again, there is obviously that sort of familiarity that is great with the Singleton movies that you do love. And I guess obviously he does have actors that he goes back to. Again, obviously Ayo, he had a couple movies with Tyrese. So is Four Brothers? I guess Tyrese doesn't like get adopted as an adult. That would be a little bit of a different connecting situation. Like Tyrese gets adopted as an adult into the Four Brothers family. I guess we'd have to go back and see like the family photos on the mantle. How they make that work. Or maybe maybe he did grow up with the Four Brothers and then went out to LA and then is like in LA and then Baby Boy goes down and then goes back to Detroit after that for Four Brothers. Like the storyline could be there. Chad, Druski's been in basically any type of fashion getup that you could get in tonight. Druski is definitely gonna be there. Shout out. I mean, can we just give an award to his makeup department as well too? I mean, I feel like that was definitely again with the sketches that he was dropping, something that was commented on at the time. But if it's his personal team that's involved as well tonight, then again, you have to shout him out. They are on top of the game here for sure. We got Ice Cube presenting. Currently, I guess we had to mute for the movie, so now we're a little behind, I guess, on what the sketches are going down. But we'll tune back in and check out the winners a little bit later and see what is going on there. But again, obviously, like we're saying, about Singleton, and obviously, rest in peace. Unfortunately, we lost him too soon, just in general. But he did, leave us with obviously a great filmography as well. And, again, I don't know what movie you look back on and go, like, this movie just hasn't necessarily aged well. Like, all of his movies are, amazing movies to go back and rewatch, and they still age incredibly well. And the themes, obviously for better or worse, are as relevant as they are today. And just again, like we're saying, there is just a portrayal of life and a and just and Ving Rhames going crazy as well too. But there is just a vibe that you're able to get into with these Singleton movies that is able to just really really set the mood, and really be a good hang is maybe what the phrase that I'm looking for. Just be a good hang for scenarios like this. Again, even if he really does have heavy themes as well too. And I know like he has like kind of we got like Tupac, the Tupac picture up on the bedroom here. And I was going to mention Kendrick as well too, as maybe taking some inspiration from Singleton's career and from some of the storytelling stuff that he has had. But both of those guys were able to do that, or obviously Kendrick's still going, but both those guys able to do those things throughout their careers, where they're able to do that, like we're saying, take those themes, and they're gonna be addressing some very complex stuff throughout the course of their movies, but they're gonna have these fun projects that are just gonna be undeniably entertaining to watch, undeniably entertaining to listen to. Again, Boys in the Hood is a obviously like a tragic movie in the way that it ends, in the story that ultimately is being told there. But again, the setting, the moments that he's able to have that lead you into that are again obviously going to be as do you even say comforting? Like, again, like we're saying, there are moments with, obviously, with Lawrence Fishburne in that movie where you're literally just like, this is as good of advice, as good of a I kind of want to be in this moment as any movie that you can get, just with, again, like, obviously just how great Lawrence Fishburne is, performing there. For you, just like, I have to be on set with Lawrence Fishburne. He's just acting so well. But no, you're just like, this is just like a, who wouldn't want to be hanging out with Lawrence Fishburne in this moment? Like, he's just, a great guy. But, again, obviously that is a tragic story. I guess, if we're talking Kendrick, like Good Kid, Mad City does have, the tragic elements to that story as well, too, in the way that, the story there is playing out about Kendrick and his friends losing one of their friends by the near the end of that album. And still, that's an album that you replay and revisit all the time. And again, it's not, again, obviously I'm treading lightly to say like a world that you want to be into, but like musically and just aesthetically, what's going on there, like again, obviously I'm saying with respect to everybody involved in every situation, like again, that is that album, that setting is obviously a classic album. That's something you're going back to all the time. And I'm guessing that that is something that I'm sure maybe indirectly or directly was influenced from him by Singleton, because like we're saying, he is constantly being able to do it. And this movie, again, as well too, like there is all kinds of again, crazy relationship stuff and crazy things about taking responsibility, taking accountability, and actually crossing over into sort of real manhood. And again, it's one of those things that you're just going to constantly want to go back and rewatch and just hang out and be with these characters and be with this setting. And there is just a an entertaining replay value there that does, obviously, like we're saying, for all of his movies, literally hold up. And again, obviously he was so good at casting people that you want to hang out with as well too, if that makes sense. Like we're saying, Tupac was a great actor. Tupac is also just a great actor to go back and just spend 90 minutes, 2 hours with in a movie on screen, just hanging out. Again, I think he was very talented. He picked, incredibly entertaining, incredibly interesting scripts. Juice is a great script. Above the Rim is a fun movie, a fun basketball movie, a fun, underground, street tournament basketball movie. There's not like a ton of those. And, again, it's just, it's a good story to be in. But Tupac is also a great actor and a great hang. And obviously he elevates any project that he was in as well, too. And again, Tyrese is kind of the same way as well, too. Like, Tupac might have actually like legitimately like won an Oscar at some point for his acting. Like he's like just like legitimately, was rest in peace, like legitimately a transcendent actor. But and Tyrese is obviously a great actor as well too. But again, like we're saying, he's just a great person that you want to spend 2 hours with on screen and just have that hang with. Same thing like the moments like we're saying in Boys in the Hood as well too. Four Brothers. Hey yo. There's certain moments there where you're like that's definitely again the I guess we tread lightly, the most the thrown together group that you have. What is it again? You got Andre 3K, Tyrese Gibson, Mark Wahlberg, and is it Garrett Hedlund is the fourth brother? So again, obviously, and obviously an adopted family, it's a beautiful thing. All of those guys being family at the end of the day. But again, in terms of I guess maybe the the chemistry, sort of like the hang of the crew. Is it Mark Wahlberg, chat? Hey, yo, do we have to go back and recast Wahlberg in Four Brothers? No, that's a classic for Wahlberg, so we can't take that out of his filmography. And I guess Hedlund's fine in that as well too. I'm thinking Triple Frontier. Like, if we could we go back and get like a like a earlier Charlie Hunnam maybe in that role, or earlier Affleck in Four Brothers. I don't know, but like earlier Hunnam maybe could have been interesting, Who's to say? But uh-oh, chat. We got Taraji and Tyrese starting to argue. I don't know I think that only means one thing. That means it's headed one direction. So I don't know if we're gonna have to go to break soon or not, or just go back and focus on the awards as as well. But and again, obviously we haven't even gotten to Snoop yet as well, who is, you go like plot wise for the movie, start talking, the main ish parts of the story start to kick in once we get the Snoop Dogg arrival on screen as well. And again, you get Snoop in like a major role. He's rolling with Tyrese and Snoop in the star roles. And again, he could have probably gotten, like you say, quote unquote, could have gotten, but he could have probably gotten bigger names, better actor, not better actors, but more typical actors in those spots. Again, considering, and obviously had a good eye for talent as well too, in getting early careers of people like Taraji, of people like Regina Hall. Like again, he was definitely he was definitely able to see something in Taraji. Chat, hey yo, I don't know, he cast Taraji in a movie and then cooks up a couple scenes like this for her. Again, I don't really know what he was. Maybe he saw something specific when the casting was going down. Again, R.I.P. recipes to Singleton. And again, for Taraji P, do you say iconic, chat? It is what it is. Obviously you respect the careers, respect the acting work that any actor has ever done. And there are all kinds of ways that actors get remembered on screen. And we have to speak up so the volume of the movie doesn't get how much is allowed to play on the YouTube. Hey yo, hey yo. But what are we saying? Again, there are all kinds of ways that actors go down in history. And Taraji is iconic in a lot of them. But that's like we're saying, she's iconic in a lot of them. So you gotta give her respect there. That is for sure. And Singleton getting a little sexier as well too in his movies. Like we're saying, that is not necessarily like, obviously his movies are like sexy. Like his movies have all kinds of beautiful people in them. There's people interacting in the movies in in intense ways. Hey, I mean, you have Janet Jackson and Tupac in Poetic Justice the entire time. But that movie's not like a again, like, there's not like a lot of Singleton's not like getting the people stripped down in that movie. Not a lot of nudity in Poetic Justice, if I remember. Hey, we now, well, maybe not from, well, well, I guess we now we're getting crazy, chat. Hey, it is what it is. But either way, like we're saying, Singleton in his full artistic bag here. For pause. Hey, yo, maybe in a couple ways, but that might be the wrong way to phrase it. But either way, like we're saying, really pulling out all the stops. That might be another one. I don't know if we can use that one as well too. I don't know, but either way, chat. I mean, again, shout out to Taraji as well. Again, obviously an iconic, powerful actress of her time. So we can't overlook that as well. But we were talking about Snoop Dogg. Hey, yo, it is what it is. But what were we saying about Snoop and about Tyrese? Again, that goes to Singleton. Like I think it plays better than, and I guess I was gonna throw out names like if I say like Omar Epps in 2001, it's not a worse movie. But again, there just is something about the and again, it's all the same. Like familiar actors, familiar artists. Like it just it depends on who you gravitate toward. Again, I'm throwing out names of people that obviously are great. Like this movie's not worse. Again, if Undisputed, if Wesley Snipes is in this movie, like it's obviously is it a better acted movie? Like but what are we saying for? Again, just sort of the hang of it. Like he's able to nail that as well. And Snoop is good in this movie. Like, and Snoop is a good actor as well too. Like I'm trying to think, like again, speaking of making movies better, making movies worse, like Snoop has never made a movie worse by being in it. Him and Dre are both in Training Day, and maybe again Snoop is the star of the two in those scenes. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like he's added. I mean, is Snoop's good in Bones? Hey yo, like he's doing what he can in that movie there. Like he's got another underrated filmography that you really have to look at. We don't necessarily think of him again when we talk like rapper actors, because it does seem like in some ways he's kind of always, he's not like always playing Snoop But he is one of those larger than life characters at times that, again, it is that disassociation sometimes doesn't always happen as much. But I mean, in Half Baked in 1998, Ayo, I guess uncredited cameo. We haven't thrown that one on in a hot minute. That is for sure. I don't think people have said that phrase in a while either. But yeah, this is, hey, speaking of classics, definitely, a real throwback there. That is for sure. Caught Up as well too in 98. Ride in 98. The Life of the Game in 98. A direct-to-video short drama starring No Limit Record rapper Snoop Dogg. It was produced by Michael Martin and written and produced by Master P and Snoop. Hey, so we'll see if we can get also The Life of the Game on Tubi as well. But then, yeah, I mean, I guess we weren't even thinking Baby Boy and Training Day in the same year. And Bones is also 2001. I mean, Chet. Hey, this might be one. And The Wash as well. This might be one of the great actor years that any actor has ever had ever. I mean, this is crazy. I'm trying to. We just had. Did we just have one recently? Where it's like, do we have to start comparing what this guy has done? I mean, but speaking of Brunson, obviously, Quintana shout out. But speaking of Jalen Brunson for the Knicks, people were, because of all of the new tournaments and all the new trophies that the NBA has implemented. Like, and we were talking about this when Jalen Brunson won the finals as well too. But he won the in-season tournament trophy. He won the Eastern Conference MVP trophy, and then he won an MVP trophy in the finals. So again, it's not like anybody, there's like 4 seasons that could have even happened now at this point. So, again, it's not like Bill Russell didn't do it, but also, again, Magic Johnson never won the in-season tournament MVP as well. So I guess, will Jalen Brunson have that on his resume? Has anybody ever had a 4-movie run in 2001 like Snoop Dogg? Hey, Baby Boy, Training Day, Bones in the Wash, all in the same year is, I mean, an outstanding Tubi run for our guy Snoop. I guess I was thinking more rappers. I guess we were kind of looking that up with Kendrick, really. Maybe what I was thinking in 2024. We were kind of comparing that. It's like, oh, is that, as good as like 50 Cent 03 or DMX in 98 or something like that. But best actor years ever. Like what year, like what Sidney Poitier year is like the best year ever? Hey, I'm like, did Pacino have a double movie year like that? Best actor years ever. Let's see what we got. I guess, we got to shout at the ladies as well, too. Oh, Carrie in 94, for sure. Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber. Hey, pretty difficult to beat there. That's pretty good. 1, 2, 3. Jamie Foxx had Ray, Collateral, and then Emmy-nominated TV movie Redemption in 2004. So, wins Best Actor for Ray and then outacts Tom Cruise in Collateral. So, you got to love that there. Hanks, and then, they're giving Hanks 2 years here. That seems a little unfair. I guess he won the best actor in back-to-back years, but same, back-to-back years. It's not like he had 3 movies each year, but he did obviously have a great 90s. Hey, I'm not sitting here saying Tom Hanks is overrated, though, maybe like 2 or 3 spots on the list overrated. But Harrison Ford, 80 and 81, I guess, as well, is also one to consider. Yeah, it's going to be difficult to look past Jim Carrey in 1994. Oh, De Niro and Heat and Casino. Maybe that's what we were just looking at because we just had Casino on, at the end of last year. But Pacino in 1992, nominated for Best Supporting Actor, Glengarry Glenn Ross, and Best Actor in Scent of the Woman. Though, again, those are obviously, like, iconic. I guess Scent of the Woman's iconic for Pacino. I think Glengarry Glenn Ross is, like, a good movie. But it's not, it's not in the top 7 of Pacino movies that you're throwing on. You're probably going to throw on Sea of Love before you throw on Glengarry Glenn Ross, right? But, again, it's like still a great year for Pacino. But you're actually watching Bones and Training Day for Snoop Dogg. 72, Marlon Brando, nominated for Best Actor twice, The Godfather and The Last Tango in Paris. So, hey, chat, move over Jim Carrey. 72, Brando. He may take the spot for Best Actor of all time. 1997, Nick Cage, Face Off and Con Air. Hey, definitely has to be mentioned. But I don't know if it's a number 1. It may be a second-team All-NBA conversation here. But really, really strong second-teamer. 87, Michael Douglas, Best Actor for Wall Street. And then, Fatal Attraction, both. Ooh, that is good. 95, Spacey. I mean, hey, you have Usual Suspects in 7 in the same year there. 93, 93, Hanks. Sleepless in Seattle. Wins Best Actor for Philadelphia. In 95, he has Apollo 13 and Toy Story. Is not a bad combo. 1999, Toy Story 2, and The Green Mile. See, underrated. That's right there on that. That's right there in the Con Air face-off tier. Toy Story 2, probably the worst of the Toy Stories, and The Green Mile's good, but it's fine. But hot take. 2002, Road to Perdition and Catch Me If You Can. Again, same thing. Road to Perdition's fine. Catch Me If You Can is really good. But, we're kind of like 1.5 there for each of those years. So, Jennifer Lawrence, 2012. We just left the one lady off the list, chat. Shout out. And, one lady on this list seems a little unfair. But Jennifer Lawrence, 2012, The Hunger Games, and then wins Best Actress for Silver Linings Playbook. So that's, domination all the way around. You dominate the box office and you dominate the critical acclaim there for both angles. I think Heat and Casino is pretty close, though, again, Dumb and Dumber as a cult classic for Carrie there at 94. Like, I guess, what was the other one? Ace Ventura. Like, both of those are kind of like cult classics in a way. I guess they're probably big movies, but the way they've aged, they've aged more into the cult classic territory than they have, again, like, Heat is like the all-time movie. Obviously The Truman Show is the all-time movie that Carrie was in that sense, that goes down in, like, Criterion Collection or whatever. But I think Casino, again, I think if we're ranking 94, 90, if we're ranking movies from 94 Carrie and 95 De Niro, again, the Carrie fans here probably go, oh, all three of them are number, there are the comedy fans out there that would be like, yes, Dumb and Dumber is the best movie of all 5 of those. But I think, in my opinion, Heat and Casino is probably the best 2 movies of the 5. So, again, I guess Jim Carrey has 3, but De Niro has the better 2. But in terms of years, I would give a 94 Carrey over a 92 Pacino. Again, movie-wise, Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura can kind of equal, Glengarry, Glenn Ross. And then The Mask versus Sense of the Woman, I feel like, that we can do a versus on that maybe and see what is going on there. We might have to do a list, chat. Best actor years at some point. Oh, Downey in 2008 as well too. See, there's so many more. Hey, with Tropic Thunder and Iron Man is pretty good. McConaughey in the mid 2000s. The McConaughey Renaissance was definitely pretty big. Oscar Isaac in 2015, underrated, I guess. A Most Violent Year, Ex Machina. A Most Violent Year is the movie title. I guess not just the description of his 2015. Oscar Isaac ripping through the industry. A Most Violent Year, but no, A Most Violent Year, Ex Machina, Star Wars, and Show Me a Hero on HBO. Oh, and then we got another comment here that says Most Violent Year came out in 2014, but so apparently that doesn't count. Dom Hall Gleason also in 2015, I guess as well. Pesci, Goodfellas and Home Alone in 1990. Chat. Ooh, Pesci versus 95. 90 Pesci versus that. See, the best actor year doesn't have to be from the best actor. Like Goodfellas and Home Alone might be, I guess I would go, you probably have to go Goodfellas over Heat and then Home Alone over Casino. You probably alternate there. But then the combined score of Pesci's movies being the 1 and 3, they win, if that makes sense, right? I'm just making up this game as we go. So I don't, this is a new game that just got invented. There's really no rules to it yet. It says not the best, but both Fassbender and Chastain in 2011. I don't know what movies Fassbender was in 2011, so I don't think he's gonna win. That is for sure. DiCaprio was in Blood Diamond and The Departed in 2006, Gangs of New York, and Catch Me If You Can in 2002. Oh, Cruise, that's what it was. I think we were looking up Cruise on the Mission Impossible. He had Jerry Maguire in Mission Impossible in the same year. And then in 1948, Humphrey Bogart had Treasure of the Sierra Madre and Key Largo. Are those 2 separate movies? That sounds like one movie. Bogart did it in Treasure of the Sierra Madre and Key Largo. I gotta say, neither of those movies have really aged like Casablanca. That's for sure. Treasure of the Sierra Madre? Never heard of it. But Hugo Weaving, 2003. Hugo Weaving, chat? Oh, Matrix Reloaded and Lord of the Rings. Whoa! Did Hugo Weaving just go past Joe Pesci? I don't think he did, but he might be right there with 95 De Niro. Again, that's pretty close. Matrix, I guess the Reloaded are the other ones, right? Those are but I guess I can't speak to those as much, but just in terms of the name value, just to be in both those franchises in the same year is pretty special work by Hugo Weaving. That's like if Robert Horry was like That's like, he was like on an NFL title team and then was like a tight end for a tight end for an NFL team. He's like an NBA for the Lakers and then was like also on the Rams. I guess in 01 he could have done that, right? Because the Lakers won. I guess the Rams were in LA then. They were in St. Louis. So almost. But if the Rams had been in LA, then Robert Ory would have been like hitting game-winning shots for the Lakers, but then also playing tight end for the Rams. That'd been like Hugo Weaving in 03. You're like, I guess I don't know if Hugo Weaving's like you're like I don't know if he's totally like Deion Sanders, hey yo, but I guess we're speaking Hugo Weaving substituting for Robert Ory there, but I don't know if Robert Ory is like totally like Deion Sanders, but it's pretty impressive what he's doing. Like he's like off playing off the bench in the NBA and like kind of hitting for like like blocking packages for the NFL, but he's still like playing in both. So that's fun. I guess who did the Spurs draft? Mo Alley Cox, right? He used to play basketball for Baylor. Hey, pause that name. But what are we saying for if he had just like kept playing basketball? But it's like, okay, he's putting up like 5 points a game. He's like Isaiah Stewart in the NBA. Like, what would that be? It's like if it was like Isaiah Stewart in the NBA and then like Jelani Woods in the NFL. Where it's like, okay, he's in both and he's like productive, but he's not, all-time great. It's like Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson are like all-stars in both, but it would be still like impressive. I guess we haven't had a guy try it yet, chat. Hey, pause. Somebody else needs to actually commit and do it. Is there enough money for both, chat? I don't know. I feel like half a contract now in these sports is like what an old contract used to be. I mean, so much more than what an old contract used to be. But you could just take half a contract from both sports. It'd be fine. Back in the day, you might have had to been like, well, I'll just play the one sport because of the money or whatever. But, like, I guess Kyler Murray got drafted a while back. I don't know who the most recent guy. Is the two-sport athlete dying? It can't be dying. I feel like in some ways, you just, you're still in high school. It's like if I can just dominate every sport, I'm just going to dominate every sport. But in college now, maybe the two-sport athlete is kind of dying a little bit. I don't know. Paul Skeens is not like also a left tackle as well. I guess we wouldn't really have like a pitcher left tackle. Oh, who's that one guy? Bartolo Colon? Okay, there we go. I don't know. But Russell Crowe, 2000, Gladiator and A Beautiful Mind. Pretty good. Tom Hanks, 93 again. Also mentioned Gosling. Oh, with a three-peat in 2011. Drive, Crazy Stupid Love, Eyes of March. Kind of getting thrown in there, but I'm sure it's fine. De Niro had Heat and Casino. Yeah, Dom Hall Gleason getting several shout outs here. It looks like 88. Oh, Cruise had multiple years. He had 86, Top Gun, and Color of Money. Whoa. And then 10 years later, Jerry Maguire, Mission Impossible, but also Rain Man and Cocktail in 88. Again, that's definitely gotten better, but the Cocktail part of that, but Rain Man, was obviously a Best Picture title. Here we go. Somebody finally giving love to Sidney Poitier as well too. Oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Wait a second, not to get sidetracked, but Predator and Running Man in 87. But Sidney Poitier, to Sir with Love, In the Heat of the Night, and Guess Who's Coming to Dinner in 1967. The comment saying 3 of the most important films in cinema history all in 1 year. Hard pressed to find it better. So Poitier, 67 Poitier, number 1 actor year of all time probably, and then Stallone in 85, Rambo 2, and Rocky 4. Hey, yo. But again, and then it goes Sidney Poitier 1, Joe Pesci 2, and then Snoop Dogg in 2001, number 3. Yeah, Baby Boy, Training Day, and Bones, and The Wash. All being released. I mean, Chad, hey, yo. He might have, it's a good thing we even got more music from him at this point. Soul Plane in 2004. Of course, another classic as well, too. So, yeah, Unbelievable with 5 exclamation points. Hey, yo, you don't see that, often for a movie title there. Dolomite, a performance in Dolomite as well, too. We got go back and throw that one on. Oh, chat. Hey, yo, he's got a voice role in Paw Patrol, the Dino movie. Oh, interesting. We got Paw Patrol Jurassic Park crossover in a way. And then also in All-Star Weekend as well, too. This is that Jamie Foxx movie that is, I don't know if it ever is actually going to get released. I feel like they've been talking about it for like 15 years. But is it going to be, was it filmed like 15 years ago? Is this going to be like seeing like Robert Downey? Is it going to be like Netflix is going to be like jealous? They're going to be like, what de-aging technology did you use? And they're like, actually, we just couldn't get the movie released for 15 years. So like, oh, we should have done that with The Irishman. We should have just stalled it for 20 years. And then, De Niro would have looked so much younger at that point. Though obviously, we try that with it now. But if they made it earlier, I guess. See, I guess somebody needs to do that now with like they need to do like a Boyhood situation, Ayo with like a mob movie like that, where it's like cast. I guess now it's just Miami Vice. I was gonna say cast Austin Butler and Michael B. Jordan. They already did that in Miami Vice, but you cast a couple of actors now, and you record like you film the younger scenes now. And then in 10 years, you make like the Heat part of the movie where they're actually older. Chad. I mean, imagine if Michael Mann had done that. I don't know if Mann would have done that, but Fincher might have done that if he had made a heist movie. Has Fincher made a heist movie? Ooh, chat. A time heist movie with David Fincher. We're just cooking up his next project for him. He films it now with who do we want, chat? Ayo, Aaron Pierre, he just got the nomination, and then who else do we have to have represent chat on the other side? I'm not sure. Does it have to be a 1-in-1 situation? I don't know. But let's have can we just clone? We just have 2 Aaron Pierres, chat. Hey, yo, Aaron Pierre. It's like a Sinner's Heat combo. Oh, chat. We're just cooking up ideas. Fincher, call us. Hey, yo. It is what it is. We got Aaron Pierre playing the cop and the villain. Whoa. Hey, yo. Chat. I don't know if this is too much or not. IT might have to cut that. That's such a great idea. IT might have to cut that out. Hey, yo. Nobody's ever thought of that. I guess that's like Gemini Man, right? Like, but that is kind of like Gemini Man though. Will Smith, chasing down younger Will Smith, I guess in a sense. I don't know, but either way, I guess it does kind of go back to the movie that we're watching, chat. Hey, yo, after this water break, real quick, about is Tyrese kind of like unofficially chasing, a younger version of himself? I guess not running away. We're running away from, in a sense, right? In a good way, like outrunning. Maybe I don't know what is the proper marathon metaphor. Hey, yo, that shout out to Nipsey Hussle. Anytime you think of a marathon, you got to think of the late great Nipsey Hussle. Of course, one of the themes that he had, throughout his music, throughout sort of the message, obviously was just running the race, and I guess just pops into mind anytime that those words are connected there, I guess. But yeah, either way, like we're saying, for Snoop, obviously an underrated little run there in 2001, and then to get Soul Plane, a couple other classics in there as well too. Like again, he is still kind of always Snoop Dogg, but this is, I was gonna say, outside of Soul Plane, this is probably like the most role that he's had. But in terms of like a, again, a rewatchable movie, hey, yo, like, because again, in terms like Training Day, he's just like in there for like a scene. He's not in the movie. He's not like a part of the movie. Again, in Soul Plane, he's literally flying the plane. So it's about as important to that movie as you can get there. I guess he tries to play. We're not gonna spoil the end of Soul Plane for you. Hey, yo, but let's just say he starts off flying the plane. That is for sure. I guess we'll have to go back and double check the plot of The Wash as well. But I guess also in Bones, he is kind of he is like the main guy in Bones, but again, it's also, Bianca Lawson's in that. Like, you got the kids running around, or, more so the main characters, and Snoop's like this high elevated, supporting guy. It's like De Niro in The Untouchables or something like that. It's like, oh, we got Snoop as the bad guy. Snoop's playing Bones, I guess, is kind of the similar situation there, which I guess is, kind of similar, I guess, if it's like De Niro off of or I guess no, because Untouchables was in the 80s, and then he had the year in the 95. But again, if it's like just, or still, like we're saying, a legendary guy, bringing him in and getting the role there. Hey, yo, chat, a little sneaky product placement for Trojan, just kind of working that in there. I guess I don't know if Singleton's always a major product placement type guy. I don't know if he just wanted to shout it out. He's like, they duct tape over the branding on the box or something. Tyrese's like, hey, I was just trying to hide what's going on. But hey, yo, chat, not to give you any ideas, but do you wrap the boxes in duct tape? Hey, yo, maybe there's better stashing strategies than that there. But Obviously, Tyrese, still navigating some impulses, still, working on, trying to figure out where I guess his commitments lie at this point. So, Taraji, obviously, stumbling on that is, obviously going to react a certain way there for sure. But, she pull the box back out, a little product description chat. Hey, yo. Let's see. It's like, speaking of the Truman Show, did we get a moment? Taraji's like, oh, it works only 97% of the time. But, nothing wrong with a little ad read there for obviously, some, I guess you say important utensils. I guess is I don't know exactly what they're not really utensils. I guess they're more so for. Well, I guess we're just kind of it doesn't really matter. But obviously you're probably gonna be a conversation if those are found. The best stash strategy, get rid of them. Hey, yo, you got to get them out of there. You throw them away. That's what we always say. The best thing to do with the condoms is throw them away. That's the plan. Hey, yo, no, that's not what we said. I don't know if that's the lesson here from the movie, but probably not at all. Hey, yo, now we're gonna have to go back and throw on Boys in the Hood to, hey, yo, get some advice on what is going on. Do we have to go back and look up winners chat from the BET Awards? I'm not sure, but pivot out something different. But hey, yo, like we're saying, shout out to Snoop. He is a great character there for sure. If we could say that with the the highest respect in obviously that term there for sure. But yeah, chat. Obviously stacked cast, stacked. Obviously like we're saying, Singleton on the production there for his filmography. $16 million budget, 29.3 million at the box office. But again, like we're saying, we can't even find it in the DVD stores, so it's literally sold out at this point. Triple platinum DVD sales. I guess they probably do have DVD sale numbers, but they should release those like they are records. Like I do want to know, like when has Baby Boy when is it gonna go platinum for DVD? And then you could like have like editions as well too. Chat. Hey, yo, we're bringing back the DVD market for the film industry here. This is how you do it. You have to release them like sell them like copies. Like, hey, yo, pause there, but sell them like copies, like albums or something. Like when I guess Sinners has already had like the DVD release or whatever. What's like a super new movie like Michael? Like when Michael hits DVD. Like, do we have a day for that? Let's see what we got here. Like it should be like the first week Michael DVD sales. It already went platinum. It's like what is the Michael movie compared to his albums? Like let's see DVD Michael DVD release date. Let's see what we've got here set. Michael is set to be released July 14th. So yeah, after I guess we should be close enough here. After July 21st, they report back and they're like, oh, I guess we'll would it sell 1 million copies in the first week? The Michael DVD. I think a DVD could probably sell. It could sell 100K for sure, which would still be impressive. I mean, imagine we still measure the album units in like 100K ish right now. So if you sell 100K, obviously for like a hip hop album, I mean you're doing great at this point. And I guess like 200 K at this point. What did Iceman do? Did Iceman maybe got to 400K? So 500 is like the new million maybe at this point. So again 100K, 200 maybe back in the day. Like it's still obviously if you sold 200 back in 2002 or 2000, I guess 2006. Yeah, if you sold 200 back in 2006, that's still like an awesome album at that point. Fake cover art. Hey, yo, chat. They've got Kendrick Lamar alternate cover art on the Iceman Wikipedia page. That is how you can't escape it at this point. But I guess for charts, commercial. Oh, here we go. Commercial performance. Iceman. Oh, almost 450. 445. I guess, or we can't read numbers, but equaling 462 million on-demand streams at this point. So yeah, again, I guess the Michael DVD could sell 100,000. Imagine the Michael DVD sells as many units as Habidi. Hey, yo, I think both of those were around 100K at that point. Let me see. I thought I saw a little post there about it. Yeah, 114 for Habidi, which again, it's obviously just straight up for anybody else. Still impressive. That's like, LeBron dropping 22 points in a game back in the day. It's like, 22, 6 and 8. It's like, mid. But for commercial performance for Maid of Honor, We got 104 for that. Yeah, so could the Michael DVD outsell Maid of Honor? I think it could potentially. But again, I feel like we need the sort of tracking. So you could just change the numbers. Again, if it sells 100K, maybe that's just platinum now at this point. Again, not saying for music, but maybe for DVDs, get the fans a little motivated back again. Oh, chat, once again the confrontations have gone down between Tyrese and Taraji, and again, like we're saying, Singleton, is obviously addressing quite a bit in this movie. So you do have some scenes that are gonna show a side of things that is not always gonna be like we're saying, the good hang part of the movie, but that is the artistic, you know, line that he is able to navigate so well, is to be able to, like we're saying, you know, get you into these movies and get you into these moments, and then all of a sudden, now it's something that is a little more serious and something that is a little more, kind of a, again, do I say I try like I say watch and learn, it's a simple phrase there to just throw out. But again, just in terms of thematically trying to extract from the movies, obviously, like we're saying, this is where things start to get a little more serious, a little more tone different at this point. But it's again the beauty of his art and the beauty that he was able to obviously using that term in terms of the overall project that he was able to develop. At the end of the day, it is the overall portrayal and the way he's able to navigate things that is again what made him such a great auteur of movies. Chat, hey, well, we calling Travis Scott an auteur earlier, and I think if we're throwing that out for Travis Scott after one BET award nomination, which is great. I don't even what is the film thing that he got nominated for as well too. I don't even know if we have to look that up as well, but I don't know if for one nomination if we can call him an auteur, but again, obviously, again, Singleton is one of the best chat. Maybe Tyrese is as well too, judging by the reaction on Taraji's face as well. But again, either way, like we're saying, this is definitely gonna have its moments where it is a little more serious and addresses some heavier things as well. And there is a little even a bit of like a I don't want fantasy is not obviously the right term, but there the way that the movie starts with that sort of abstract literal interpretation of Baby Boy with Tyrese in the as a grown man, like in a womb sort of situation. And again, there are some sort of like out of body-ish type of moments in this movie that do again, I like poetic justice does stay a little bit more like 100% grounded throughout, do you say, even though it has obviously some funny out there type of moments, but this one maybe even does get in times even like a little bit more abstract as well too, if that makes sense. But again, obviously, a tough life at times that the characters here are tough decisions that they are navigating and stuff, and Singleton is going to portray all that stuff here on screen. And again, obviously Taraji's performance throughout the movie is iconic there. But Tyrese having to get into a little bit of a drama, Marriage Story type of situation here, chat. Hey, yo. Before we had ScarJo and Adam Driver winning Oscars for yelling at each other, they probably just honestly watched Tyrese and Taraji, once again, taking from black art. Hey, yo, not to just accuse Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson of that, but I'm just saying that there was precedent before where the Academy was, like, oh, this is the best movie of all time. I guess Marriage Story hasn't like lived on. I mean, chat. Hey, yo, that's the thing. Like, is Baby Boy more iconic even now? Obviously Marriage Story has been out shorter, but I don't know if it's like aging the way that like Baby Boy has, where it's just like, okay, everybody needs to see this. I mean, Noah Baumbach has segment of the film industry that is his fans for sure. But I think Singleton's a little bit more mainstream in his sensibilities than 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 Bomback was. And like we're saying, there is just a coziness that you are able to find in moments with Singleton's world building that I guess, I have to go back and go through Bomback's films. Like I don't remember exactly like, again, I don't think Marriage Story is one of those like, yes, these characters are going to have tough moments and tough decisions or whatever, but like at the end of the day, like this is a journey I want to go through with these characters. And that's like, Marriage Story is just like, oh, that's a bummer. Hey, that sucks. Don't fall in love. Noah Baumbach says, don't fall in love. Hey, like I guess, not to obviously Noah Baumbach's a little bit more of a craftsman than that. That is for sure. But hey, all-time film. I can already see it right now. All-time film rankings. People are putting Baumbach over Singleton, and I'm already getting upset. I feel like there is, a similar. I don't know if Baumbach has like a ton of movies, right? He's not like he's at like 20 movies at this point. I could be wrong. Oh, I guess he is. Chad. Hey, producer, director. I guess it's kind of scattered out here through a bunch of them. Obviously, I guess Kicking and Screaming early on, but after that, Chad. Hey, is Madagascar 3 in here? What's De Palma? He directed the De Palma documentary. Oh, Jay Kelly is, I guess, a new movie that he did there. Again, like Jay Kelly's fine. I guess according to what people said about it. But Marriage Story is, I guess, kind of maybe that's what happens. Is obviously, industry likes a guy, and then he breaks through with the movie, and it's like we can kind of finally, hey, celebrate this movie in a proper way. But again, like we're saying, not a bad career here, but I cannot see, 6 movies that I would watch over any of the Singleton movies. I guess, again, obviously I would know like Kicking and Screaming is like regarded as like a good movie for sure. I can't say like I recall a bunch from that movie, and then we'll say Marriage Story, and then he helped write Barbie. But let's be honest, like Barbie's Greta Gerwig, and she directed it, so she'll get the just say it's written by Greta Gerwig. It is what it is. So in terms of him obviously directing movies, like we're literally down to 1.5 movies at this point. So, get out of here with Baumbach over Singleton, chat. It is what it is. It's literally not even close. So we might have to go through, see what other directors we can knock down the ranking at this point. I'm not sure. But again, obviously there is some sort of similar, I guess some similar intense scenes in the same thing. And again, is Adam Driver so much better of an actor than Tyrese? Is he, chat? Is he? Because I think Tyrese is definitely, getting, what is Tyrese not portraying in his performance that Adam Driver is portraying in his performance? I'm not exactly sure. So yeah, and I guess, obviously the film was originally written for Tupac, as it says here. So keeping it, in the Singleton universe there, like we're saying, working with some of the similar actors, working with the musician, and obviously mainly Tupac as well. I mean, chat, that could have been like a whole, what do you say, Coogler, Michael B situation, and Pio Kaluuya as well too, which is what I was thinking of there originally. But Coogler and Michael B, obviously, just because Coogler or Michael B has been in everything that Coogler has been in. Pio did make Us without Kaluuya, so he ditched him one time there, I guess. And obviously Winston Duke did a great job. I guess I have to go back. I mean, like Kaluuya could do that role for sure. I mean, again, Winston Duke, a little bit of a different profile in terms of the actor type, but just in terms of being the sort of supporting husband role there, I think that obviously a couple of different types of actors could have been able to handle that for sure. So Kaluuya probably could have still been in that movie fine, but again, obviously he went a couple different directions there without him. But we could have actually had like we mentioned De Niro earlier, like Scorsese De Niro type of situation where Tupac is in every Singleton movie. And I mean, again, obviously rest in peace. It's tragic that neither of them are here right now. It's, unbelievable. But, again, obviously just the fact that even by 01 at this point as well, too, it would have been interesting. And honestly, I'm not saying, you can't say it's better than Tyrese with Tyrese in it, after a sentence like that, because again, if Tupac is alive, he is going to be in this movie. I guess it says he's written for him in mind, right? So is there, could Tupac or could Tyrese out audition Tupac in a sense? I don't know. But again, he kind of did a similar-ish role in Poetic Justice. So not to say that, and again, we just mentioned De Niro. Like De Niro literally did, how many mob movies with Scorsese? Like, okay, so, Tupac does a couple of coming of age movies with John Singleton. But, again, I guess just to, have Tyrese in the mix there is, just a fun thing for, do you say, film history, that we got to see that pairing in this type of movie as well, too. As well as, like we said, fortunately, we were blessed enough to get Singleton and Tupac working together in a movie like Poetic Justice. So, again, I'm not saying it to take it away or, of course, imply anything else by any means whatsoever. Obviously, rest in peace, the legend Tupac. We absolutely hope he was here with us today. And if him being here means that he has to star in Baby Boy instead of Tyrese, then you know what? Obviously, I think Tyrese will give up the role happily as well, too. But like I'm saying, if there's a world where the Tupac can be here and Tyrese can't have starred in Baby Boy, then obviously that's a fun world as well, too. I'll take the option 3 where we get Tyrese and Baby Boy and Tupac still alive. Obviously instead of bring back Tupac, but then also Tyrese is not in Baby Boy. Like, we don't have to take away a movie from Tyrese. It's it's his classic starring role film. So, and maybe and Tupac could obviously he's a better actor, so he can get another movie. He could actually audition for something and get the role that way, chat. Hey, no, I guess, and then see what happens is Pac is now just Pac auditions for, I guess I forget what Tyrese's character's name is in Fast and Furious. Chat, I forget what it is. I don't remember what anybody's name is. It's Ludacris, Paul Walker, Vin Diesel, and Michelle Rodriguez, and Tyrese is who's in that movie. I guess Vin Diesel is Toretto, and Brian O'Connor. Okay, we'll remember the names slowly as they start to pop back in here. But pause. But yeah, but then, Tupac just ends up in the Fast and Furious franchise, which would be awesome. I mean, make no mistake. I mean, chat. He was such a, with him and Singleton, he was obviously, pursuing one-off type of movies. But again, if he had been in a franchise, that would have been insane. Like Tupac in some type of action movie, some type of sci-fi action movie in like 2000 and, by the time we get to like 2008 or something like that, I guess that would have been like right on the edge there with Iron Man and like Dark Knight and things like that. But like 2010 Pac in some type of sci-fi movie would have been crazy. And, again, he could have literally done anything at that point. But again, if I could say with all due respect and tread lightly, and, obviously, like I'm saying, I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying like the movie with Tyrese in it does work. We do know that. Again, it is a classic movie. So it is good for, again, with, I hate to, be saying it that way, but it's fun that Tyrese was able to be in a movie like this is maybe the most appropriate way to end up saying it. And I guess it also does say, or the role of Rodney was originally written for Ice Cube, so that would have been both actors, both rappers on screen. That would have been like the modern day Pacino and Heat, Pacino and De Niro there. Speaking of, where it's like I guess the on screen I guess they didn't really like have off-screen beef, right? Because they were both West Coast guys. So I can't really think of anything like, Ice Cube and Tupac going back and forth. Like I can't, that wouldn't have been a storyline at all. So, and I guess if they were acting together, maybe they wouldn't have been rap beefing at that point. But I guess were Pacino and De Niro beefing off screen? They weren't necessarily beefing off screen, but just in terms of like two of the best of the business, being on screen at the same time, that obviously would have been, a legendary thing to see at that time. So, again, I guess if we could get the Tupac Ice Cube movie in general, if that had been a thing maybe after Baby Boy, you're like, okay, we didn't get to work together now, but at least we know we established that could happen. So, maybe that's the heist movie, chat. Hey, Singleton's heist movie, Ice Cube and Tupac. Hey, obviously, we won't make it with the AI. But, if we were ever making movies with the AI, that'd be at least one to pitch. That's for sure. But, yeah, I guess a couple different people in mind there. Metacritic weights it at 55. Who cares? Roger Ebert, 3.5 stars. See, in the moment, like, you read the individual people, like, it's fine. But or just the ones that gave good reviews, I guess. But 3.5 stars. Baby Boy, a bold criticism of young black men who carelessly father babies, live off their mothers, and don't even think of looking for work. It is also a criticism of the society that pushes them into that niche. There has never been a movie with this angle on the African American experience, and it doesn't fall back on an easy liberal finger pointing. And there is no white people in this movie, no simplistic blaming of others. The adults in Jody's life blame him for his own troubles, and they should. So I think Ebert by 2001 was, a respected enough of a film critic to be able to say these things. That is for sure. But obviously a very honest assessment of the movie there from Roger Ebert. Kenneth Turin, a film critic of the Los Angeles Times, praised the film for being compelling, heartfelt, and personal. Jonathan Rosebaum of the Chicago Reader also liked the film, stating, like John Singleton's other films, this is far from flawless, but the characters are so full-bodied and so, and the feelings so raw and complex that I'd call this the best thing he's done to date. So maybe Kenneth Turin not a fan? I'm not exactly certain what's going on there, but snipping out the complimentary parts is good as well too. And then the film ultimately received 10 nominations at the Black Reels Awards of 2002, including Outstanding Film, and 3 nominations at 2002 NAACP Image Awards, including Outstanding Motion Picture. The film was also screened at 2001 Locarno International Film Festival in competition for the Golden Leopard. Whoa, I'm not even a film festival guy, but if they had cool trophies like the gold, chat, that's so much of a better name than it is an actual trophy. I mean, no disrespect. I guess it'd be an honor to win a golden leopard, but I mean, come on, that's like the Dwayne Wade trophy of leopards right here. It's like a giraffe mixed with a leopard. This doesn't look like a leopard at all. I guess what we're saying is, the Dwayne Wade statue just doesn't look like Dwayne Wade. Is obviously the main comparison there. I'm saying that the golden leopard does not look like a leopard. Let's see what we've got here. Golden leopard trophy. Trousers? No. Golden leopard trophy. The top prize at the Locarno Film Festival. Oh, here we go. I guess this is like the Jaguar logo, though. So it's just sponsored by Jaguar. What is this, chat? I mean, not to call out the golden leopard, but this is legitimately terrible. I understand if, like, the golden leopard was filmed or, like, started in, like, way back, and it's like, okay, this was like hand molded back in the day, maybe they're paying homage to that artist still, so it's like, I guess I could understand that, but we can't 3D print a better looking leopard than this. Like, what leopard's neck is that long? I mean, chat, I don't even have to Google a picture of a leopard. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I am thinking a little bit more of, like, I guess like Black Panther is like an actual person. That'd be like a humanoid statue. I guess it'd be like an Oscar, but just he's dressed like Black Panther. I guess that's the Golden Leopard Award essentially. If it was the Killmonger suit, so that it had like the gold, what do you say, like the gold leaf mixed in throughout, then maybe it could be like a Killmonger statue, but that's the Golden Leopard. But Chad, I mean, we need to, maybe DM the Golden Leopard with a different design for this trophy, because they could definitely maybe use a little 2026 upgrade. That is for sure. Okay, so this looked a little bigger than the last one. It did look small as well too. Like, it's like a little, almost, it's like a paperweight. Like, I thought this was a trophy. Again, it's a leopard. It doesn't need a neck. Pause. Make it a normal leopard, chat. Did you look up a picture at all? Okay, leopards have the longest neck of any animal is what it's going to say now. Okay, but now I'm wrong. I've never looked at a cat before. No, I feel like I know what's going on here. Like, I guess I could see where maybe you could get that out of some of these pictures. If you were looking at the right one, it just looked at like one distorted photo. Like, maybe pick like a couple different images to look around, maybe. Or poses. Yeah, I guess you could see where something like this, I guess, is a different type of cat. But, chat, different type of cat. But, what are you saying? That is, still a dramatic interpretation of that pose there. That is for sure. And it's like sitting down too. It's like a lazy leopard. It's not like a standing up. It needs to be standing up like like proud, like a proud strut. Like a, let me see, leopard, a proud. Can I just Google proud leopard? I don't know if that's gonna see what we want here. But let's see what we do have. I mean, yeah, just like a regal, just like a normal regal looking leopard, chat. Hey, yo, just nice up on all fours, paws, strong. Get nice, sculpting some nice shoulder muscles here. Like obviously all the big cats, like, that just like upper leg situation. Hey, yo, but especially the front legs, where it's like, I guess you can't really say it's like the thigh because it's also like its shoulder as well too. But whatever this shoulder bicep thigh combo situation is for these leopards, hey, yo, you gotta get somebody that's been working that out where it's like a Ving Rhames. Then, maybe you need to chisel that into the statue as well. Like, see, even this is better. Like, this is more of an actual just cat. So, a little less intimidating, but still the overall design, like now we're into real animal territory here at this point. Hey, yo, Chad, just call it the golden giraffe and call it a day. It is what it is. Because I feel like giraffes sit down like that as well, too. Not to just all of a sudden become an animal expert. You always become an expert in things when you're criticizing. It's like, it's like, you know about this much about leopards? It's like, no, I'm just making this up. But still, am I wrong? Am I wrong in saying that this statue right here is a better statue than this statue? Even though, again, this is not technically a film festival trophy, but still a better statue. The Leopards Award, I don't know what this is, but this is a little better here. You still have the spots. A real leopard, a nice growl, chat. Okay, a room for the plaque on the front. I mean, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking. Size this baby up. Pause to the proper size. Hey, yo. Again, see, this is like, this guy got like, this is like a supporting actor who got like a mini version. Like, I don't know why his is smaller than this guy's here. I guess, are they both small? I don't know. Maybe just big hands or something. Hey, yo. Oh, there looks like there might be a silver leopard here as well. Second place gets a silver leopard. But yeah, chat, hot take. I don't mean to be calling out the leopard festival that much. Hey, yo, but shout out. It would receive special mention from the jury for its innovative concept and ensemble acting. So I don't know what won during the 2001 Locarno Film Festival here. Let's see if we can see what is going on. Leopards of Tomorrow, chat. Hey, yo. They've got a section of awards here called Leopards of Tomorrow. I don't know about that. The Golden Leopard, the festival's main prize, special jury prize. Oh, so maybe that's what it won there. And then Leopard for best direction, and then Leopard for best performance since 2023. So they've only recently been giving out best acting leopard. But the Golden Leopard for the best film, they've been giving out since 46. Hey, yo, are there any classics in here, chat? I'm not sure. The Golden Leopard's looking like it might be missing a couple. I don't, where is It's a Wonderful Life? I guess maybe the 30s was, a little bit better. Well, let's see here. A Killer's Kiss, 59. What are these? I've never heard of these. Hey, yo. Three Tigers Sad, 1969. End of the Road. Private Road. Bleak Moments. The Big Night. The Herd. Okay, chat. 98, 99. We're still in unfamiliar territory, so I don't know what is going on here with the Golden Leopard or what the qualifications are. But, and I guess, it's a film festival. It's not like Avengers Endgame is going to be released at the Locarno Film Festival. But, still, I feel like there'd be some movie released in this film festival that you'd hear about maybe at some point. Maybe that's just, as I see, maybe it starts to get a little more international at some point. And maybe it is just international. Maybe that's why I'm not recognizing some of these names. Do we go American films that won? But even like End of the Road, 1970, like... I don't James Earl Jones? I don't know. Maybe we throw it on. It's got James Earl Jones in it. I'm not exactly sure what we were looking at there, but we could digest it a little bit later. Bleak Moments. Comedy drama by Mike Lee in his directorial debut. Hey, yo, shout out. Son of Amir is Dead. The Idlers of the Fertile Valley. Film directed by Panya Poloponopoulos from the Golden Leopard Festival in 1978. Shout out. A Greek film legend. You love to see it. But Stranger Than Paradise. Wolfgang Becker. I thought maybe I recognized that name, but now I'm thinking I don't. I don't really know anything by Wolfgang Becker, to be honest. But the name Wolfgang obviously does stand out anytime you ever see it. Johnny Suede sounds like the only movie on here that maybe I'd actually watch. another directorial debut, Tom DeKillo. Oh, Brad Pitt and Catherine Keener. We got a good one, Chad. We got a good one. We got an actor, Brad Pitt. Shout out. I guess, shout out to any of these people. Just, my familiarity with it doesn't mean anything. But the place of the gray Tricone, like, this might be 10 times better than Johnny Suede. Johnny Suede, they're just like Brad Pitt's around. Like, oh, Brad Pitt's in this festival. I guess we got to nominate Brad Pitt. But still, in 91, like, that's early Brad Pitt there. So, obviously shows the star power. Leo DiCaprio never won the Locarno Film Festival. Off to the Revolution 2Z. I guess as we say that, we'll stumble onto the Leo movie. Another debut, 9 Lives, Rodrigo Garcia. The screenplay, an example of hyperlink cinema, relates 9 short, loosely intertwined tales with different women at their cores. Oh, 9 Lives. Oh, okay. I'm starting to kind of lock in there. Winter Vacation, Back to the Stay. Mrs. Fang. Hey, yo. Documentary details the last 10 days of life of Mrs. Fang, a bedridden 68-year-old woman with Alzheimer's. Oh, chat. Hey, yo. I don't know about these people that just like film a person in the hospital and they're like, this is my documentary. And they're like, okay, like, I guess you win an award for it. I mean, shout out. It's great stories to tell. But it's like, okay, what do you call it? Locarno Film Festival bait is what it sounds like to me. Hey, yo, Chet, I hate to have a sour take on that movie. It's probably a beautiful story. We really need to check it out. Vengeance. What was this one? Vengeance is Mine and All Others Pay Cash. Okay, you got me. You could have just called it Vengeance is Mine as well too. A Indonesian comedy, an Indonesian action black comedy drama film written by and directed by Edwin. Shout out to Edwin. I guess it's so many genres. We don't really have room for the plot here. Set in 1980s Indonesia, society ruled by by a hibernating bird becomes a serious matter. So wait a second, am I reading this right? Set in 1980s Indonesia, in an Indonesian society ruled by a hibernating bird becomes a serious matter. In a life of brutality, the sleeping bird is an allegory for a peaceful, serene life, even when the whole world tries to deeply rouse it. So, we may have to see if this is on the Tubi. We may have to actually watch this one to get an understanding of what's going on here. But yeah, obviously Baby Boy getting represented at maybe the special jury prize is the different one here, because is this the one that Baby Boy won 2001? Where's it at here? Let's see. Oh, wait a second. Delabrin won the special. So what was the special shout out it got? It said it got like an innovation shout out. I don't know where it's not getting listed here with all the other ones. But, as long as I guess the respect is commanded, that is what counts as well too. Oh, and they used to have I guess best performance is now one category. So they used to have it in 2 categories. The Golden Leopold, the Golden Leopard for Filmmaker of the Present is, I guess, a little different than, the filmmaker of the past, maybe. I don't know what these films are though. Again, so our knowledge of the festival scene is clearly, bottom tier at this point. Hail, Paper, and Water, a documentary film, Daydreaming and Dying, a Singaporean experimental fantasy film. I mean, chat, just when I think I've seen like a lot of movies, I like walk around sometimes thinking like, oh yeah, you like this guy over here doesn't see it. Like, this guy knows nothing about movies. Like, I'll just like walk past a guy on a street and be like, I know so much more about deep cut movies than this guy. And then it'll just be like, oh, actually there's, this Senegalese drama film that I've never seen before. That's really good. Or even not even, international films, just American art house films. It's like a whole genre of movies that I get. I guess I get like I know like deep cut action movies is really what it is. So maybe I need to rephrase my my walk around the city a little bit differently. Like, oh, I know so much more about bank robbery movies than this guy. Hey, yo, and just know that that's what it is. If you ever walk past me on the street, I'm definitely comparing film knowledge as we're walking around. I'm like, this guy's never seen Waist Deep with Tyrese? Like, come on. What's he doing out? This guy's on TikTok all day. He doesn't know what's up. But yeah, and then again we get like, Mana Kamanana from a 2013 documentary film directed by Stephanie Spray and Pancho Villas. I feel like I do know the name Pancho Villas, to be honest, though I don't really know what from. of a sensory ethnography lab in Harvard University. It's an experimental documentary about pilgrims traveling on the Mauna Kea cable car between chairs, the Chechuan, and the whatever else. Hey, yo. So again, this is in the documentary, in the film festival scene that we don't see. So I mean, if we were at the Locarno Film Festival in '01 and Baby Boy was there, I'd be like, this is just, it's the best movie of all time. There's no way that this is, we're leaving that tent ever. It, that's just like the only thing that's like on Tubi. Director John Singleton was very proud of the movie. Quote, it was just soulful. I made a movie that I wanted to be as soulful as a Marvin Gaye record. And that was my goal, for better or worse. Not necessarily a perfect film, but something that you watch, it's memorable, and that's what I love about the movie. I mean, chat, hey, yo, absolutely accomplished that. And yeah, I guess speaking of Criterion Collection, April 2026 here recently, they put all three of the Hood trilogy movies into the collection there. So, his filmography obviously stamped in a way for, the Criterion Collection as well. The soundtrack containing hip hop and R&B records released 41 on the Billboard 200 and number 12 on the hip hop charts. Number 5 on the top soundtrack charts. So were there 4 other movie soundtracks this week that were better than it? Hey, yo. I don't know what was going on there. Spawned number 1 charting single, though, Just a Baby Boy, performed by Snoop Dogg and Tyrese and Mr. Tan, which made it to... Oh, spawned 1 charting single, not a number 1 chart. I was going to say, I kind of missed that on the number 1 charts, but it got to 90 on the Billboard 100, and then number 40 on the Hot R&B Hip Hop Singles as well, too. The soundtrack includes interludes, which are clips from the film. The album score was composed by British composer David Arnold as well. So yeah, Raphael Sadiq, 3-6 Mafia, D'Angelo, Bootsy Collins, Ving Rhames, the Guns and Butter interlude. Hey, yo, we just need to get this on in a playlist, and then hopefully what party can we queue up the Guns and Butter interlude at, and then just like drop that in and see how that goes. Marvin Gaye as well, getting him on the record, or getting him on the soundtrack after saying that the movie is ideally going to replicate a Marvin Gaye track there. And I mean, like we were saying earlier, it definitely does. There is that, that replayability. There is that comforting-ish type of factor where, you can just constantly go back and relive in these environments and, relive in these worlds. And it never gets old all the time. And, again, obviously, Marvin Gaye music is definitely the same thing there. That is for sure. But again, even Marvin Gaye, we could do a better job of going back and re-listening. Again, I do the same thing with legendary music. I guess I don't just compare movie taste. I also compare music taste. And I guess it's all just thinking that I watched 2 movies from the 90s, and that's cool. It's like, oh, I guess maybe the basketball highlights is the one thing that I would have over somebody, because I was watching 05 San Antonio versus, I guess we said the finals. Like, we were also watching the Western Conference Finals today as well too. So maybe I could walk past somebody and be like, oh, this guy doesn't watch as much old basketball on YouTube as I do, and I might maybe be more right on that one more often than not. But I'll do this with movies, or I'll do this with music as well too. I'm like, oh, but nobody listens to old music as much as I do. Oh, and then I'll be like, actually, I was like, oh, wait a second, Marvin Gaye. It's like, oh, how, what are we doing? But just like, okay, like, settle down. Like, there's so many different, so many, obviously, like what we're saying, it's like with Die Hard or something. There's just so much to, so much that you could just overlook so easily. And then you'll be like, wait a second, why haven't I queued up Marvin Gaye? And like, you know what? If I said right now I haven't queued up Marvin Gaye in the last month, people would be like, oh, that's crazy. But, again, the under 30 crowd, it might happen. It might go a month or two and you're just like, oh, I forgot to I wasn't just queuing him up in the rotation. It wasn't the vibe. But I don't know, chat, some Marvin Gaye this summer could definitely be pretty, hot take. That could be the move. That could definitely be the move. I don't know if we're going to build the summer playlist right now, I guess, or the 4th of July playlist. Chat, it might be a bit of a throwback 4th of July. I can already tell. Again, but that might mean a couple things, but it might be a bit of a you know, what do we say? A bit of a throwback party vibe for the music there. Again, Chad, obviously Singleton movies, like we're saying, you know, get serious with the some of the moments in some of the scenes, and this is one of them. I may turn down the volume just because, you know, again, it is obviously a sensitive moment. So, just to, hopefully respect everybody in the audience that is involved. But again, obviously it is part of the story that Singleton is trying to tell here. And again, obviously like just, a real crazy, real, awful act that's about to happen. Again, obviously Singleton, like we're saying, real, just I'm not gonna say like real life, but again, like just the plot and the stories and the things that he's kind of addressed. Again, he's not afraid to tackle an issue and still able to, again, make the movie something that you can go back and revisit as well too, and not lose, because that is important. Like you don't want to lose those themes in a movie where maybe it only is going to be like one type of rewatch, and again, sometimes some more serious things can get lost in the shuffle a little bit. But again, it's like you can have the ability to be able to you know like the movie's kind of trying to say as well too, have the ability to be sober minded, mature, thinking about some stuff, and then also shut the brain off, have a good time, have moments where you're laughing, have moments where you're just being entertained in a way and just enjoying the movie as well. But yeah, I guess we don't actually have the what do you say here, the DVD sale numbers for Baby Boy, but yeah, obviously did get the drop back in the day as well too. And like we're saying, obviously still gets regarded to this day as a classic. But yeah, chat, Tupac, shows up, obviously, heat check performance in a way, and starts acting up as well too. So some Singleton sort of storyline sort of commonalities here between another movie. Obviously, you have Boys in the Hood going some similar directions, addressing some revenge themes as well. So you do see that start to unfold here in in the the Singleton movies. And I guess you tread lightly with what you say about obviously again the moments that the what they're portraying there on screen. But again, it does bring a different sort of emotional moment to the movie. Like you would never say like, oh, like now we're in an action movie, but like you kind of are getting some of those emotional cues of action movies in these movies as well too. And again, that's Singleton being a great filmmaker and being able to implement all of these different types of story beats into these movies. I guess that's why you could say that this one is like the most complete-ish movie that he has made in a sense, because it really does have all the different types of experiences that you can experience emotionally while watching a movie. Like maybe it doesn't have like a straight up like jump scare type of scenario in a way, but I guess any like the revenge types of situations and stuff, like there is a a sort of tension in a sense that is there, that I guess maybe is, I guess maybe he did address some themes that are definitely very horrific throughout the course of his career. And some movies obviously Rosewood and others being much more serious in tone, but for I guess him actually making like a full-on horror movie, that would probably have been the one thing that he really didn't quite do there. In a sense, he got the coming of age story, the, I guess, do you call Poetic Justice like a rom-com, but kind of like a relationship comedy situation. He did do an action movie in Four Brothers, obviously, like we're saying, much more much more action focused there as well. And then this one kind of tying up a lot of the beats. I guess Too Fast Too Furious, also an action movie as well, also a little rom-commy with Eva Mendes and Brian O'Connor. There's a little will they, a little tension there as well too. Obviously, mid 2000s movies, you got to have it as well. Mid 2000s were good for that, because you do have obviously the rise of sort of more female stars as well too, but maybe Hollywood not always like giving them all the roles So it's just like, okay, they're just gonna be, still the love interest here. And it's like, okay, Eva Mendes, but even she's like important to the plot, but also she's there to definitely have tension with Brian O'Connor as well too. But obviously it works. It works. It's Too Fast, Too Furious is a great movie, so we're not complaining about that. But yeah, we do have the Revenge Drive by Tupac, an iconic, like we're saying, part or Tupac, Snoop Dogg. Well, not to get him confused there. What are we saying? The moment that is in a couple Singleton movies there, like we're saying in Boys in the Hood, and also here as well too. I guess the one plot twist is, I guess, the successfulness of the the drive-by in Baby Boy is obviously Snoop Dogg not as efficient as the guys in Boys in the Hood. That is for sure, and it is honestly again one of those things like not as much running from Tyrese. Ricky's definitely taken some jokes about the way that he tried to get out of that situation. That's for sure. They kind of break off and run at one point, and then there's one point where it's like, okay, you're still probably in danger, and he's just kind of like walking through the alley, and they're just kind of like driving up behind him. But again, Tyrese kind of approaching the car, literally, less avoidance than Ricky there. And obviously, his character as well too is, I guess, not the same type of character. But Snoop, chat, you've got the kind of snarl from Snoop, really giving us a great acting performance. Uh-oh, chat. I don't know if, I don't know if this is any type of experience situation here or whatever, but Snoop's obviously really getting into character here as he goes. I do like watching the videos on we get the reels sometimes of like how OGs be carrying a gun around, and it'll be just like, hey, OG, how'd you carry this? There's one that I've been watching recently, and they pull up and they ask the guy, and they're like, oh, show us how you pulled up on a guy back in the day. And then he he gets it, he like lowers it down, and then he kind of like starts walking. Then as he speeds up the walk, he like kind of breaks into this little skip, and then he kind of gets into full stride, and then goes into, I guess, execute the business there. But it's like, okay, anytime you get an an OG running around on Instagram, it's fun stuff there. That is for sure. Again, obviously not to laugh at any violence that is actually happening. That's not the point. But the form can be funny sometimes. That is for sure. But you do have Tyrese making it out of this one. So maybe Snoop could have used a skip kind of in the thing. I guess in the car, maybe that's going to be a little bit harder than a walk by. I guess we're describing more a walk by than a drive by. That's for sure. We'll see if our algorithm tunes in now that it's listening to us talk about this. We'll see if it's give us a couple how OG drove by back in the day, but maybe not as well. But Snoop wander back into the house. Hey, a day's done. I guess you do have Tyrese obviously going down, so that's important. Again, Snoop Dogg obviously a lot of assuming there. Classic sort of movie villain mistake is leaving too early or assuming that you just kind of finished pause before before you're actually done is definitely about the only way these guys lose is obviously leave the hero alive. So Snoop probably should have taken a little lesson there. Unfortunately, he doesn't get into film until this year here. So if he maybe has done a couple more roles, he would have known. But hey, see, now we are an action movie. You cut the power. I just said no horror movie, but see, we got him cutting the power. We got him drawing Snoop out of the house. Like I mean, Single could have done anything, so he definitely could have done this as well. Oh, and then Snoop with a clean punch, chat. Hey, right to Tyrese. I mean, again, Snoop obviously, probably not the first time he's tussled around. The running shot, Snoop, great hair as well too, flowing around there, pause. You got all of 2001. I don't know if this was for the Bones role specifically or not, but just rocking the sort of longer look there. I guess he's still got long hair, right? It's just kind of always like, it's just not the same sort of, loose hair situation. It's more braided up now. at this point. Hey, Tupac hair breakdown now. I guess, maybe we did say Jay-Z though, just, hey, comb out his hair, go with the afro for the Roots picnic. I don't know. Snoop, can you get the sort of just the mane back in a sense? And then Tyrese, I guess, obviously this sort of the doughboy situation of, you know, will they, will he, won't he? What is the, sort of the call that the pro tag has to make here? And, again, sort of the differentiating situation is is doesn't, of course, his friend is, a lot less hesitant than he is. It is what it is. So R.I.P. Snoop. Spoiler alert. We didn't put spoiler alert on this one before it, but I mean, we're currently watching it. So if you didn't pick up that there's going to be some spoilers here, then, that's kind of on you at this point. But Snoop, man down, unfortunately. It is what it is. So, Tyrese, again, obviously, movie takes a little bit of a serious turn here in terms of the substance matter of the scene. Again, if you just like list off like, okay, the serious scenes that were in Baby Boy, you're like, okay, this movie has this scene, it has this scene, it has this scene. You're like, wait a second, how did Singleton manage to make this like arguably, again, like the cult classic-ist of the movies? Like everybody, again, everybody loves Boys in the Hood. That's sort of the undeniable classic in a sense. I think Too Fast, Too Furious, definitely, beloved by the Fast and Furious franchise. And I think, obviously, most like any movies, once you watch it, you like it. But it's not like regarded as a bad movie, even though the reviews for it might lean a certain way. And like we're saying, Poetic Justice does have obviously a really, really strong fan base out there. Make no mistake. But even though I would say and it would be obviously a Pac and Janet Jackson thing as much as it would be a movie thing. But, I would probably lean Poetic Justice personally. I guess, I have that DVD and not Baby Boy. So, I'm making the statement there just by like my own purchases. But, I think maybe pound for pound, Baby Boy would be more popular. I don't know. Again, obviously, Boys in the Hood, In the Hood trilogy, the first one, I feel like it's less comparable because it is more the classically regarded film, if that makes sense. Like everybody regards the status of it. But if we're just arguing the cult, which one of your sort of Singleton classics are your favorite? I feel like the Boys in the Hood or the Baby Boy Poetic Justice argument, I do feel like Baby Boy is the more popular one. But again, obviously it's a close call. We would I guess have to rank it in a certain way if we would make the rankings. But again, I think that might be the number 2 here on the filmography. I guess Higher Learning you could make the case as well, but I don't know if that one is quite on the same popularity level as Poetic Justice and Baby Boy. And then I guess Shaft as well. You could maybe say Shaft number 3, or I say argument for number 4, really, again, tied for number 3, like we're saying, or number 2, Baby Boy and Poetic Justice. Like Shaft is definitely, like the commercial or more commercial type movie, that's for sure. Again, him remaking a iconic character as well. You get Samuel as the star there. And, again, obviously it's classic. I'm not saying it's not classic. But I feel like when you think of Singleton, you think of, again, like we're saying, that trilogy of movies, and you would think of Baby Boy and Poetic Justice before you think of Shaft as well. And I guess, again, sort of it being in between Shaft and Fast and Furious, it's like that return to sort of his roots, if I could say that, as a filmmaker there. But, you do have, once again, Ving Rhames, just, the MVP of the movie, once again, talking down or, saving a scene, talking, literally saving Tyrese in this scene, talking him out of a pretty tense, disastrous situation there. And, him and Taraji starting the new lease on life there, chat. So, hey, do we have, we got the Lauryn Hill performance going here on the BET Awards as well. I mean, I meant to mention Lauryn Hill earlier. I guess we kind of overlooked that because they didn't have the what do you say, the achievement awards in the nominee awards, because again, like there's nobody, going against those. You just kind of set those before going in. But, she was getting some type of lifetime achievement award here. And, again, obviously just goes to continue to show you the greatness of that album that she dropped. I mean, she dropped multiple albums, so it's not like that does become a little bit of a narrative with her career where it's like, oh, the one album. It's like, no, she had a whole Fugees career before that. She dropped a live album afterwards. Like, there are tons of Lauryn Hill songs to go listen to. Does she have as many songs as NBA YoungBoy? No, but she has tons of good songs and they're all great. So she has as many songs as you listen to, way more than I'm. She drops like 100 songs in her career. Like, are there 100 songs, NBA YoungBoy songs that you would listen to? Yes, not to be rude, but just some of the math of it at some point as well. But again, just the impact of that album, that it still is just as a potent as an album now. Like, as much as an audience, like, obviously we would love new Lauryn Hill music. I'm not saying we wouldn't, but nobody can sit here and say that she needs to make more music. Like even Nas, in a sense, like even Jay-Z, and again, I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to make a statement like we don't need music from Lauryn Hill and we do need, we don't need from the lady, we need from the, like, I'm not trying to say that, but what I am saying is, again, like, that album is so powerful that, obviously, if you never drop anything else, the legendary status is there. And like I'm saying, she had the amazing career outside of that album as well too, just as good as any other rapper. And her features get underrated as well. But again, there's almost nobody whose legacy is as set as hers. And again, respect to obviously some of the legends that have gone on before as well too. But there's just far fewer great legacies at this point than what Lauryn Hill has been able to achieve. And just as a live performer as well too, you see her starting to get a little more attention as a live performer right now, it seems like. I don't know if she's just more actively live performing than compared to, and more actively touring as well too. Maybe she was, in a sort of lower key residency or something. Again, I don't really know exactly like what all have been like the last 10-20 years have been up to. But I have been, and again, it could just be my algorithm. It's just like I watch one clip, it just starts feeding me all the clips. But it does seem like there are more new clips of her being active in performing anyways. And like the Jay-Z thing, I don't know if like Lauryn Hill does 2 live performances, it's like, okay, the new album, when is it happening? But again, just the activity and the recognition of the career is honestly fine, fine enough for me. Hey, and again, I'm not saying like, we don't need new music, we're good. Again, I'm here for it. If there's a new album surprise drop or announced or whatever, if it's a surprise drop, we leave work and we go fire up a live stream right away. If it's a scheduled one, obviously, we clear out the calendar and we're here for it. Again, it goes immediately into the rotation and all that. But I'm just saying, like, if also we just get to recognize the music career that she's had as well too, that's an amazing, beautiful thing. And it's been an amazing, beautiful career. And still, even just from performing these songs and reinvigorating them into the into the culture, like, that is still a beautiful thing as well too, to have happen. I'm not obviously sitting here and say what like the rest of life is for Lauryn Hill. I'm just saying, like, that is like I'm saying, that's just a beautiful album, beautiful beautiful moment in history that still gets to continue to live on and get remembered and revitalized here as well. And hey, I guess, do we just mute the baby boy now, the last couple minutes, and fire up the speech? Because again, we did mute the awards show to focus on the movie here, but we will have to definitely go back and watch a bunch of the performances as well. But cue up this speech, because again, the wisdom that she's had throughout the course of her career has always been there. But as she just continues to speak from a more legendary status, it just is obviously all the more reason to tune in and to listen to what she is saying there, obviously amongst so many other reasons as well too. So hey, just so many legends and stuff to remember tonight. It is what it is. Obviously, those gone on before, like we're saying, those still with us. It's a beautiful thing in both ways to be able to celebrate, again, the lives and careers of those, again, like we're saying, as much as there are those that, again, obviously like Singleton, we'd want him back. But, again, like we're saying, it also is a beautiful career that he had as well. And we get to, keep, in some ways, like we're saying, he does, his legacy does live forever in movies like this, and being able to, like we're saying, portray the stories that he did on screen is great. Beautiful award show, chat, beautiful movie. Hey, what a great night. What a great way to end the live stream, the Sunday night live stream. We'll be back again on Tuesday night as we, hey, maybe hit a little bit more of a routine schedule. We had obviously, great run there with the NBA season and some of the, obviously just the spring sports run there can get pretty awesome. So, hey, and just the competitiveness as well too. We had Michigan go to the championship and the Spurs go to the finals. So it really is like a, the summer is like a little bit of a pump the brakes, but I'm seeing these teams, I'm seeing the internet start to, obviously being prisoners of the moment, hyping up this LaMelo Anthony Edwards core. And it's like, okay. Did you guys forget about Dylan Harper and Steph Castle? I think you might have. So, obviously we're getting excited for the NBA. And I had something happen the other day, but hey, I don't know what it was, but I just remember being like, oh, football. Hey, that's pretty exciting. That's getting closer. So, we'll be locking in all kinds of summer stuff here. But yeah, we got Tuesday live stream. When is that, chat? Oh, it's this Tuesday. Hey, so be back for that. Sunday, Tuesday, Friday is the schedule here on the YouTube. You can hit us on the podcast feeds. You can hit us up on the Instagram as well too, at RemingtonPod on Instagram if you want to send us a message over there. You can hit up. Let me get the exact Instagram for Sam and their coffee business that they are getting going here as well too. TempoCo.707. So Tempo707.com is the website. If you just want to go straight to the website, they've got some merch on there. You get a little hoodie or something as well too. Really, really cool stuff. But if you want to follow their Instagram as well, they are at TempoCo.707. So you can see what Sam has been up to in his endeavors over there as well. And like I said, we'll be back in a couple days. We'll see you on Tuesday night. Enjoy the time until then. We'll see you guys. Peace.